Bourgeois Knowledge City, the part of MIT League of Colleges, driven by a single-minded focus on imparting quality education. MIT BKC Institute of Pharmacy established in 2006 with a mission to develop students socio-technically. The institute has maintained the quality right from the establishment, as it reflects from the accreditation and various awards which college has achieved. MIT IOP is the first NBA accredited pharmacy institute in Nasik region. MIT BKC Institute of Pharmacy has been approved by AICTE PCI and is affiliated to Savitribai Phule, Pune University. MIT BKC IOP offers full-time courses in Bachelor of Pharmacy, Masters of Pharmacy and PhD. Institute stands for its excellent, well-lighted and ventilated ambience with range of facilities like classroom which are equipped with an overhead projector, speakers, smart board, etc. Well-equipped and spacious laboratories which provide experimental learning experience. State-of-art pilot plant simulating the pharmaceutical industry with range of equipments for formulation, development and evaluation. Institute has separate instrument room having range of sophisticated instruments as per the need of industry and research work like HPLC, UV, FTIR, etc. Heart of Institute, the library, one of its own kind with open access, great ambience and various national and international book collections to give great learning experience. Institute is also a well with gymnasium which is equipped with a number of professional electronic and manual universal fitness machines along with indoor sport facilities and music room. Campus also has an amphitheater for social gathering and expression of students. The institute believes that the quality of faculty member and their commitment to excellence is the core competence towards its development. With this thought, institute have more than 50% doctorates, 200 plus publications, 5 patents, 1 copyright and 16 book publications. Our students are encouraged to take part in national and international competitions and events as part of their curriculum. To add feather on hat, we have Ms. Archana Kapse, Air 3 in GPAT 2019, Mr. Aditya Darade, Air 1 in GPAT 2014 and Mr. Parag Mehta, Air 15 in GPAT 2010, who have qualified national level exam GPAT with dignified ranks. MIT IOP has signed 8 Memorandum of Understanding, that is MOU, amongst them are Japanese Industry, Asahi Kasei and Malaysian University Technology Mara. MIT Institute of Pharmacy provide a platform for expressing students and showcase their hidden talent through Antaranga and MIT Utsav annual social gathering. Success comes down to you with appropriate attitude, effort and focus, which is certified by various achievements which institute has received. Best Magazine Award by SPPU, Champions Trophy at National Pharmacy Week, Award for the Best Research Paper and Presentation, Best College Award by Student Development Board SPPU for Student Welfare Activities. Institute has also been honored with highest rank Platinum by AICTE C2 survey for its outstanding linkage with industries for consequently 2 years, which surely strengthen the institute and students to survive in this brave new world of technology. Bhujbal Knowledge City Institute of Pharmacy, the place where your search ends.
A very good morning to all. I, Professor Rani Kankate, welcome you all in third day of Faculty Development Program on New Age Educational Standards for a Teacher, jointly organized by Med Institute of Pharmacy, Bhujbal Knowledge City, and Association of Pharmaceutical Teachers of India. Warm greeting to respected Principal Dr. Sanjay Shisagar sir and Dr. Shefali Bhujbal ma'am, the Chief Administrator of Bhujbal Knowledge City, for their support and motivation behind organizing this event. Kind regards to Dr. Gitanjali Devkar madam and Dr. Moreshwar Patil sir for being the coordinator of this event. Quickly, I would like to take you through overview of day 1 and day 2. In day 1, the first session deliberated on topic ranking framework and overview of NRF, ARIA and AICT CII by Dr. Sohan Chitlangi sir. Then I delivered a session on establishment of Institution Innovation Council and MHRD Innovation Cell, its role. Then the third session delivered by Dr. Akshay Srivastava on implantable medical devices for spinal cord regeneration. In day 2, the first session delivered by Dr. Anna Sahib Gurau on design thinking and entrepreneurship. Next session conducted by Sania Valera madam on introduction to incubation center setup. Then last session by Dr. K. Sheikh madam on how to plan a research project. Today's session focus on research grant opportunity and writing of proposal for a grant. In first session, respected Dr. Vandana Patravale ma'am going to enlighten us on research grant agencies, opportunity to academician. Then in next session, Dr. Dada Sahib Kokre sir going to guide us on research proposal writing. Then third session by Dr. Deepak Bambere sir will be talk on new educational tools. And the last session will be on packaging technology by Dr. Swaminathan. Now let's move towards the first session. Now I request Dr. Nilima Thomre ma'am to introduce our today's first session resource person. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, madam. On the behalf of MIT's Institute of Pharmacy, Bhujbal Knowledge City, I, Dr. Nilima Thomre, welcome you all for today's first session of National FDP on New Age Educational Standards for Teachers. It's my immense pleasure to introduce our esteemed speaker for this session, Dr. Vandana Patravale, madam. Welcome you, ma'am. Dr. Vandana Patravale, madam, is currently working as a professor of pharmaceutics at Institute of Chemical Technology at Mumbai. She has around 30-year experience of teaching and research. She has over 200 referred publications with over 9,000 citations with H index of 48 and I-10 index of 118. She has also published 22 granted patents, 20 patents are in pipeline, and 2 trademark registered. She has published 2 books, 25 book chapters with international publishers. Dr. Patravale madam has been active in teaching, research, and service throughout her career. She has recently been inducted as an independent director of a device manufacturing company and listed as top 2% of world scientists in pharmacy. Her area of research include development of nanocarriers with major emphasis on infectious diseases, cancer, and neurodegenerative type of the disorders. She is also actively involved in the development of medical device development, nanodiagnostics, and nanovaccines. She was awarded Abdul Kalam Technology Innovation National Fellowship 2021, Fellowship of Indian Chemical Society 2020, Kukreja Oration Award 2020, APTI's Dr. Manjushri Pal Best Pharmaceutical Scientist Award 2019, Shri Amrut Modi Distinguished Research Award 2018, OPPI Woman Scientist Award 2015, Bill Melinda Gates Grant Award 2015, Best Pharmaceutical Scientist Award 2014, Wasvik Award 2013, Veneta Nanotech Award 2013, APTI Best Teacher Award 2012, Fellowship of Maharashtra Academy Science 2011, and KH Garda Distinguished Research Award 2009. She is Vice President of CRS Indian Chapter, Editorial Board Member DDTR, Editor CRS IC, and APTI Women Forum newsletter. She is actively collaborating with researchers as well as industries within country and abroad and has completed Indo-Swiss, Indo-Japan, and Indo-UK projects. She is executing all major grants from Indian government focusing on product development. She has transferred near about 20 technologies to industry, including drug-eluting strains being marketed in more than 65 countries. So today's respected Patravale madam is going to enlighten us on topic research grant agencies and opportunities to academician. With this brief introduction, I welcome you, ma'am. So, without taking much time, I invite Patravale madam and request to her to proceed with her valuable words and guide to us. Over to you, ma'am. Please.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. Nilima, for those kind words. And I have actually witnessed the growth trajectory of MET's Institute of Pharmacy, and I must say they are always keeping abreast with the latest trends. And today's, in fact, the CEFDP, which is going on for a week, is witness to that. What a theme, which says new age educational standards for teachers. So they are trying their best to educate, especially the newcomers, to various facets of this particular profession, and leaving no stone unturned so that they can excel. So, with that, and I would like to, of course, thank Professor Shri Sagar as well as the full organizing and coordinating team of this particular EFDP for inviting me. And if you could just confirm if my screen is visible. Dr. Nilima, is it visible?
Yes, yes, it is clear.
Okay,
Uh,
fine.
Make it full screen, ma'am.
I have already put. Yeah. Now?
Yeah, yeah. It's visible, ma'am. Please, sir.
Okay. So today's topic, of course, is on funding agencies, as well as what are the opportunities which are available to academicians. So this is, of course, our Institute of Chemical Technology, and I'm really proud to say that all those air rankers, all India rankers, which you saw in MET's, the video show, have joined ICT, and they have really made us proud. So I really again thank all the faculty members at MET IOP for training them so well. All we had to do is little bit polish them, but it is really great pleasure for us to host such students who are trained by MET. So as far as these fundings are concerned, we can put them, into 4 different levels. These fundings are for research students. It's very important to know what funding is required for students, because they are forming the crux of our team. They are the one who are going to be flag bearers of our research labs, and therefore the more you promote them, the more you will see that your institute or college would excel. So we will start with some of the opportunities which are available for research students who are pursuing PhD. What are the opportunities which are available after PhD? So this is applicable, of course, to most of the young faculty also. Then, in particular, what are the fundings which are available for faculty at institute level? What is it which is available to us? The funding opportunities, if you see, we can divide them as funding coming in from national bodies, or it can be from international bodies. Unfortunately, we do not see many of our pharma peers applying for international funding. But I always, at all forums, have requested you do look at national bodies, but simultaneously, if you have a meritorious proposition, do look at international bodies too. National bodies, obviously, you can divide them into government as well as non-government sources. Under government, you can have funding coming from state government. So, like for example, MHRD will be having funding. Your Maharashtra state government will be having funding too. RUSA, which has come as Rashtriya Uchatar Shiksha Abhiyan, everything is being coordinated by the state government. You have funding coming from government, that is central government. We'll see many of these agencies though. On the non-government side, there could be certain NGOs who can give you funding, and if you have a good idea, and now with institution innovation council taking shape in each of the institutes, it is the venture capitalists or angelists who are going to support the startups. So we need to look at funding which comes from them too, not to of course forget some private trust like Ratan Tata Trust or industrial sources which have the funding. I would like to mention here, no, Kare Trust from Indoco Remedies is one such trust. Lakme Foundation, specifically for women. So these are some industrial sources which are available to all. Of course, apart from that, if you do have a proposal which you feel a particular industry will be ready, for which you need to do a proper survey. For example, if you have to approach, say, Cipla, you should be having strong hold on anti-asthmatics, and then you can propose something. Or if you're going to Lipin, it should be anti-infectives. And if you're going to say Ferring Pharma, it has to be something which deals with reproductive system. So see which are the niche area of those particular industries, pick a particular area, see where are the gaps. They might be putting some dosage forms there, but you may be able to in fact suggest something which is better. With respect to chemistry, it could be with respect to, of course, pharmaceutics. It could be coupled with pharmacognosy knowledge too. So identify and then approach them. And as far as international bodies are concerned, I really do not know how many of you know and how many of you do follow which grants are available. Currently, NIH has a funding available. When I say NIH, it is US has a funding available for infectious diseases. It is not restricted to US citizens. So if you can identify partners from USA and can write a collaborative project, definitely there are chances that you will get this grant. Same way, like we have in our country, international bodies also could be private. There are many, I would say, single person grants. By that, what do you mean? If they have seen in their family someone is suffering from a rare disease, they initiate a fund, and then everyone pulls in money throughout globe, and that money then will be disbursed to the right kind of researcher who can give a solution to that particular problem. International ones, of course, there are grants which they give within universities also. And now it has started in India too, right? So I'm sure Mumbai University has a seed grant. Same way, Pune University should be having a seed grant, which is given to those who are just beginning their career in research. So let's see one by one opportunities for those who are pursuing PhD. What kind of fellowships are available? Of course, we can divide them into those which they can, taking help of mentors like you, teachers like you, can write for pursuing research. It's not necessary that research students work without any fellowship. In fact, at ICT, we have a mandate: no fellowship, no student. Earlier, we used to get from UGC every year 10 fellows which were distributed. But now UGC has stopped that. That means you are supposed to seek funding for them. So it gives us chance to read more, to write more, identify the unmet needs, and then move on. There are certain fellowships which are exchange programs, and one needs to take advantage of such programs wherein students can be half the time of their PhD duration be with you, and half the time they can be in another country. In this way, you can increase the networking with other country. Not only the institute with which you will be working, but once your student goes there, many others would again come to you. Indian students, let me tell you, have really made us proud wherever they have gone. And why is it? Because of the practical training which we are giving them like no one else in the world. So practical hands-on experience which they have during B Form is helping them do much more than other students. In particular, Asians are preferred everywhere. And of course, besides fellowships, which are monthly fellowships, they can get certain scholarships and awards. All of this is non-taxable. So obviously, you can always tell students and tell industries also. Some of the industries have started now giving, under corporate social responsibility, fellowships to these students. So you need to provide them with relevant documents so that they can come to you. And then there are grants for travel. So let's see what are the fellowships available. One has PhD fellowships from UGC, but I told you now 12B certificate is a must. So if you have that, definitely UGC will entertain. DST, that's Department of Science and Technology, has Inspire Fellowship, and this is one fellowship which is meant for meritorious students. So university rank number 1 is going to get this Inspire Fellowship. So in fact, I had privilege of having B Form students who did integrated PhD, and I also had the privilege of interacting directly, because they were members of our lab, master students who were Inspire Fellows. So that means it goes at 2 levels. B Form topper can be an Inspire Fellow. M Form topper also can be an Inspire Fellow. And for such students, typically any institute will give them red carpet treatment because by choice they are staying back in India. Typically, you would have seen most of the institutes, including ours, top rankers opt for foreign universities. So these are government initiative giving incentive to meritorious students to stay back. And believe me, the work which is done in India, by no standard, it is less than that what is done abroad. Many times students have told us when they come to meet, typically they visit us in December, as you know, for 3 weeks. They take vacation and come. They tell us, they compare ICT labs with those labs where they are working and tell us what are the flaws there and how we can improve here. So all which inputs we have got so far is with respect to safety training which they give to their students, which ICT gives, but it is given to all students at once. There it is hand holding one by one. Otherwise, in instrumental facilities, equipments, infrastructure, we are no less than any foreign university. And I have seen MET's campus, meaning I can boast that that is one campus which provides facilities for students to work. In this pandemic time, I remember there were times when I had requested Principal Dr. Shirsagar to accommodate our students, and they did that. They have conducted animal experiments for ICT students too, meaning such are the facilities which are available, not only at ICT, other places too. So we need to take benefit of that. CSIR, ICMR, that's, as you know, Indian Council of Medical Research, also gives senior research fellows. Of course, you need to write a project. So what I've done, the third column is provided you web link for each of that. But you can, if you just put ICMR, you will come to know what are the kind of fellowships which are available to them. So student has to write a project, and that should be done ideally with the help of the mentor with whom he or she would like to work. So that, of course, one, the proposal can be polished, and secondly, student also knows what is expected outcome from him or her. So such fellowships are available which student themselves can write. They are, as you know, appearing for entrance tests. Like, for example, DBT has a biotechnology entrance test. So if those people who qualify BET definitely will get JRF. And sometimes pharmacy students, they feel that they are not eligible. But let me tell you that we are all coming under life sciences. Pharmacy is also coming under life sciences. So our students are capable of giving even this exam. And now that in our syllabus, more and more focus is coming on biotechnology, I'm sure they will excel. So we do get many students at ICT who come through this route. Besides that, of course, now that we have started a course which is pharmaceutical biotechnology, that is MTech in pharmaceutical biotechnology, BPharm students are eligible. We do also have another MTech course which is bioprocess technology. So you may wonder what is the difference. So one focuses on downstream processing, that means isolation, characterization, etc. That's bioprocess technology, biosimilar, etc. Another one which we have in our Department of Pharmaceutical Sciences and Technology is focusing on upstream. So can we make some in vitro models for BBB, for ocular membrane, for skin membrane? Can we do some protein and peptide delivery, gene delivery? All that is upstream. So obviously our B forms are very well versed, and therefore they are eligible for DBT fellowships too. Fortunately, DPST, that's our department, gets block grants. About 10 people, B forms, we prefer. Biotech students, of course, are eligible for this fellowship. Then comes US India Educational Forum. In fact, these Nehru fellowships, Fulbright Nehru fellowships, are for those who want to do PhD abroad. It takes about a year to process this fellowship, and therefore you need to start in advance. And how does it start? It starts with you or your mentor identifying who would be the host in USA, host institute in USA. Once you identify, you need to get a letter from them saying that they will be able to support. And then, of course, if you follow the website, that's www.usief.org.in, there'll be online form which needs to be filled. And once student have this fellowship, what do they get, you may ask? They get each and everything, not only the fellowship, which is huge, about I would say goes to about 80,000 and more of US dollars. But besides that, they get to and fro travel, they do get visa money, insurance, everything. Same is the case with Welcome Grant, which gives about 1,20,000 pounds to these students for about 4 years, which is huge. I can tell you about 50% of money they can save and come back and have their own flat here. So, such are the grants which are available. I would like to make a special mention of UGC's Single Girl Child Grant. And in fact, this is if the student is the only child of parents, no siblings. And of course, the student is a girl. So, in that case, government gives grant, and this grant can be availed over and above any other grant which you might be having. So, of course, the institutes themselves can decide to waive even the registration fee or the annual fee to see that girl child gets the education. And as you know, as the saying itself goes, the girl child educated, many others in the family will get educated. So we need to support, and there are many, many schemes of our own government towards this. And this is one which gives about 36,200 rupees in addition to any other grant that they might be having. Not to forget Prime Minister's Fellowship. And in fact, this is tripartite, meaning three partners. You have DST, SERP, CII, along with industry. So if you have a proposal which industry feels they can take up for scale up, industry gives half the money. Rest of the money is put in by Confederation of Indian Industries, and the grant is disbursed by DST SERV. And you know what is a present fellowship which students are getting? Just now, these fellowships are announced, and I'm lucky to have third PM fellowship in our lab, 93,000 rupees per month. Fellowship when they are doing PhD. So those of you who are actually, say, staff members, I would say, masters you've done, within 18 months of your registration, you have to identify industrial partner and apply for this. And it comes through most of the time, meaning I have not failed a single time. In fact, they do tell us to promote this scheme. It's Prime Minister's Fellowship, right? Very coveted fellowship. So obviously, you have to put only those objectives which can get tackled in that 4 year time. So don't be very over ambitious. Discuss with industry and then put those objectives. Very small write up has to be given from our side. as well as from industry side. It's not a very detailed one, let me tell you. But it has to be very crisp to indicate to DST and CII that yes, we do have a novelty. By doing work in this direction, we'll be able to come up with something which is unheard of, which is not there in the market currently. And then how are you going to contribute and have social impact by doing work in that direction? Of course, as I mentioned earlier, besides these, sponsored research projects do come to us from industry. And again, our lab currently is running about 4 such industrial projects. I don't take up more because it's very difficult to keep up with the timelines. And once you have given the commitment, you have to abide by those timelines. So go slow and take only how much you can chew. This is a snapshot of Inspire Fellowship, which I was talking to you about. And as you can see here, it's very clearly indicated that is given to university first ranker in a particular subject. So it's not that it has to be first ranker overall. So it could be pharmaceutics topper, pharma chemistry topper, or maybe if you have quality assurance, those toppers separately considered. And it is also given after masters. So Inspire Scholar who has secured 65% or above marks at master's level also can get this particular fellowship. I told you it goes at 2 levels: B Form to PhD or M Form to PhD. Another advantage of this is that suppose you have taken your fellow initially on an industrial project, they can shift to Inspire. So that is allowed. So because it's given from Department of Science and Technology, no institute can take objection. So this is our typical modus operandi, let me tell you. We take students on industrial project where they get typically fellowship of about 25,000 to 30,000 rupees per month. And then they apply for Inspire. And when they get Inspire, it's I think 55,000 per month plus HRA. Or if they shift to PM, it is, as I told you now, 93,000, which is huge. So they can shift anytime from existing fellowship to this fellowship. But both the applications have to be done by students. So you should monitor and see what details they are filling. So unless I go through it, check it thoroughly, polish it, I do not allow them to upload. There are short-term exchange programs like CEFIPRA. CEFIPRA is, of course, a Raman Charpak Fellowship for France. So students can go and pursue their part of work in Europe. You do have many such. For example, you do have British Council's Great Scholarship. And every year there will be 9 to 10 such scholarships given to Indian students. See, it is specifically for Indian students. Here you are not competing with the world. Newton Bhabha. Just now, in fact, again our student who are Inspire Fellows, because these comes from DST, Inspire Fellows are preferred because they know they are the meritorious students. They are the ones who by choice stayed, but they should get exposure to outside countries. So Newton Bhabha and Commonwealth Split Side Scholarship are both Indo-UK. And just one of my student, Anjali Pandya, who is an Inspire Fellow, would be leaving in maybe Feb end for this Indo-UK Commonwealth Split Side Scholarship to do work with Dr. Ryan Donnelly, who is the boss in microneedles. So half the work she's done here, rest half incorporating it in microneedles, she'll do then come back and do animal studies here. So such scholarships are for about a year, 1 year, where total there again the travel, visa, any allowances, medical allowances, accommodation, everything is taken care. Not a single penny goes from students' pocket. Government takes care. And then we do have another one who went from our lab to Commonwealth Scholarship, is New Zealand Commonwealth Scholarship, to work with Dr. Ilva. In fact, he was working in industry during pandemic time. He could not go to New Zealand. So Dr. Ilva suggested if we could accommodate that candidate in our lab. And ICT did give special permission for him to work. And it is just, I was checking the WhatsApp status. Today morning, early morning, he has reached New Zealand. So such programs are available from many countries. There are certain sandwich programs also. For example, DST and DAD Indo-German joint research collaboration. So all what is required is a letter from host institute. And of course, students which are selected on any of these have to be such who can represent our Indian culture, can spread awareness when they go to those other countries and talk, of course, good about India. So, if you are interviewed, so in those interviews, you need to convince the people that yes, we know about India. There are many people who do not know about ancient India or even modern India. So, it's better that select best of best to give them training abroad. Again, this is a snapshot of Cefipra, wherein you can see the duration is about 3 to 6 months. And this particular fellowship is jointly funded, of course, by DST as well as French Embassy, which is there in India. And research area, many research areas are there, including material science, where we can apply. We can apply in life sciences, we can apply in chemical sciences, also in physical sciences, engineering sciences too. But of course, most of all, pharma students do apply in life sciences. So eligibility is that you should be registered for PhD. And if you want to go to France, you need to apply at least 6 months prior to going. Believe me, there are no applications. Many times I've seen that when the projects come to us for evaluation, they are hardly, you can count them on fingers. Whereas government is trying to promote exposure, at least one exposure abroad. So if you go to Commonwealth Scholarship, you'll see that such a snapshot would be there, and you can search by your country name, because Commonwealth scholarships are available to many countries. So of course we are talking about Indo-UK. So you'll put India, and then accordingly the form will come which you have to go on filling. Same is the case with any of the other funds, be it Newton Baba or be it DAD. Travel grants are also available, which can come in from DST, from Science and Technology Research Board, from DBT, from CSIR, ICMR. Only one condition, that to all these agencies you can apply once in 3 years. So our students are smart. Once they'll apply to DST, another year to DBT, another year to ICMR, so that they can go every year and visit some good conference and gain from it. But of course, we have to have a monitoring system for that. If they go, what have they learned? Are they able to share that with the rest of the research group? And that is what is very, very important. So when they write sort of SOP, why this granting agency should support them, they need to say how, when they come back, they will disseminate that knowledge. So only personal gains are not looked at. You should be able to pass on this value addition to your country too. Typically, I think first 5 people must be aware of. But in addition, you can apply for BRNS also, which gives you grant, and then CICS, which is Center for International Cooperation in Science also has fellowships for travel. Besides certain private trusts like Ratan Tata Trust, Navajbai Ratan Tata Trust, they also give you travel grant. In fact, many of B.Pharm students also, you might be knowing, no, many times they give loan, which is interest-free loan. So if a student cannot afford, you need to tell them that don't think of it if you've got a fellowship abroad to pursue your PhD or masters, you can take funds from such trusts for travel. You need not put it from your pocket. And of course, once you start earning, you return it back. This is again a snapshot which talks about conference, travel, exhibition, and popular lectures for which you can get grant. It is applicable to faculty also. All these travel grants are applicable to faculty also. And as I mentioned, you have to apply beforehand. Though it is written at least 2 months prior, I tell everyone that try and get early accept of your abstract presentation from. If you write to foreign authorities, they'll immediately provide you with answer. Let me tell you, sometimes we are reluctant. We do not write to them. So you can say that we need to apply for grants for which it is important for us to know the status of our abstract acceptance or rejection. So kindly intimate. They write back, you apply. So this could be 3 to 4 months prior. And then once in 3 years, you can get such grant. If you've finished PhD and you are young researchers now, again at different levels, grants are available. You do have grants for postdoctoral fellowship, for faculty position, for travel, and then some of our own people who have actually gone and settled abroad. Our government sees to it that best brains come back. So brain drain, which has happened, if they can get them back, you need to give them the fellowships, suitable fellowships. So there are certain re-entry fellowships also. So these are the typical postdoctoral fellowships. And again, in our lab, we do have D.S. Kothari postdoctoral fellowship. So Dr. Sri Ranjani, who did her PhD from Indian Institute of Science, Bangalore, #1 ranking institute, as you know, is now at Udacity. And you'll be wondering what is the reason. I said, no, why the shift? That is #1. Why you didn't continue there? She said, science is very good. Tech transfer I've seen happens from here. So she wanted to learn about what are the tactics of tech transfer. We recently have another postdoctoral fellow joining us, and that is, you'll be surprised, on Third World Academy of Sciences and DBT grant. There are certain countries who are poorer than us. So people from there, if they are capable, DBT supports them. So one person who's coming to us is actually chair and head of the Department of Nanoscience in Nigeria. And we wrote a project on malaria because, as you know, malaria definitely affects Africa a lot. So my intention was that if he comes here, I'll have a clinical outlet which will be open, right? Once he develops, clinical studies can be done in Africa too, though we are already doing in India. So such fellowships are available where total, again, like I said, when our students go abroad, everything is taken care by the granting agency. Here the TWAS and DBT together will take care of that particular candidate from Nigeria, Dr. Umair. And then you do have many other grants. Now, what is a fellowship for these? So Kothari people again get something like 65,000 rupees plus HRA, which is good enough for someone who has just finished PhD. and is interested in learning something new. Besides that, you do have Swarna Jayanti, typically up to 40 years of age. You have to apply by March of each year. This is for little senior people also, it is available. A very coveted fellowship though. JC Bose National Fellow. Generally, if you are a Shanti Sarup Bhatnagar awardee, you get JC Bose National Fellowship. So that means if you've done something good at very young age, you will get JC Bose National Fellow. You know what are the advantages of these Swarna Jayanti and JC Bose National Fellow? And one such fellowship which I got, which is not listed here, but Dr. Nilima mentioned it, Dr. Abdul Kalam National Fellowship. So we get 15 lakh per annum as a research grant, minimum for 4 years. And for JC Bose fellows and all, it is till they retire, 15 lakhs per annum. What do you personally get? Of course, that grant money goes, for doing research work, for appointing students, for equipments, etc. In addition, we get 25,000 rupees over and above our salary per month for that same period. So that is a recognition which your government gives you for doing good work. And it is, of course, non-taxable. It's kind of an award. So such fellowships are plenty. You need to look at each one of them. Of these, Ramanna Fellowship is the only fellowship which gives you money for infrastructure also, equipment also. And base, of course, is specifically if you are working in bioenergy. It could be of any time. It could be from algal source. It could be from solar source. You do get base fellowship. And not to forget, it's the highest, in fact, very, very recognized grant, Khorana Nirenberg scholars. You can see the names which are associated with it are also well-renowned names in their own field. What do you get here? Here, the faculty who gets this Indo-US Career Transition Award obviously will go to US. Where in US? They go to National Institute of Health for a period of 2 years and do postdoc in NIH institution. Of course, the mandate is that you have to come back to India. It shouldn't happen that you go do postdoc and then settle there. Mandate is you have to give in writing that you'll come back and serve Indian, your own India. So you'll come back to Indian Institute. So all the rewards, like I told you earlier, even this particular grant offers. Then you have Tata Innovation Fellowship, the National Institute of Biological Genomics, if you're working in genomics, proteomics, etc. Now, Ramalinga Swami is another fellowship, which is a re-entry fellowship. One of my students, Dr. Ratnesh Jain, after doing PhD, went to Germany on postdoctoral fellowship, which he got, Humboldt Fellow. When he had to come back to India, he applied for Ramalinga Swami Fellowship. So when he entered UDCity as a staff member, he was on Ramalinga Swami Fellowship. What do you get? You get a consolidated salary of about 1 lakh per month. Plus you get research grant of about 5 lakhs per year. So that's seed money to do your research. Plus you have a network of these fellows which have meetings very often. So on Humboldt side also there are meetings. On Ramalinga Swami also there are meetings. So your network really gets expanded. Liverhume Research Fellowship is from Royal Society, UK. Again, you have Wellcome Trust, DBT India Alliance Fellowships, and Commonwealth Rutherford Fellowships, all having similar benefits as I mentioned about Ramalinga Swami Fellowship. That means you do get money to do research. You do get your money, in fact, for your as a salary too. You can see here overview of different fellowship schemes from Wellcome Trust, DBT. You do have these schemes at 3 different levels: early career, intermediate, and senior stage. As your number of experience years increases, you have more benefits. So you can see that if you are a very senior person, you do get consumables, you get money for equipment, you can do international research. In fact, they have not limited the amount which you will get for doing international research. And plus, you can get support staff, you can get travel for meetings, and contingency money too. It differs depending on which level of experience you do have. Fast track scheme. Now, these are some of the grants which are available for young investigators. So, you do have fast track scheme for young scientists. You get about 17 lakh money from DST. One can apply for Boycast Fellowship. And I know of many people who have got Boycast and then they have gone to do research in their selected area of science and technology. For example, Dr. Javed Ali is from Jamia Hamdard. He had got Boycast. Dr. Munira Amin, she had got. So at different levels, you can have it as administrator, you can have it as a scientist also. So you do get opportunities to interact with universities abroad, learn from them, and see if you can imbibe some of the positives and bring them here in India. Same way, of course, the transfer is both ways. Best of India also has to be given to them. So you can go there. When Dr. Javed Ali went, he visited about 5 to 6 universities. You get chance to write some review papers with them. So that also helps, getting recognition, which is international recognition. Same way, DBT gives, just like fast track scheme is from DST, rapid grant for young investigators available from DBT also. Besides that, there's an award. There's a difference between a scheme and an award. Now, award money is only yours. A scheme, there could be something which is a fellowship, which is taxable. There could be something which is a equipment, which goes to the institute, but award is award. Generally, people do not apply to BARC, and I've been telling some of the private colleges, do identify a person from BRC or any of the BRC institutes. All it does is you have to identify one person wherein you can say, do work on radiation sterilization, or you can do work on radiation polymerization. If you're in analysis, you can develop radioimmunoassays. Or, for example, when we did work with BRC, first grant was on radio labeling of anti-migraine drugs, which we had put it in mice and done nose to brain delivery. So it could be in diagnostics, it could be theranostics, any of the area. But what is amended? Identify a person from BARC institutes. That person doesn't get anything. He will be your mentor, do the hand holding. He'll guide you what has to be done. They don't get the grant. At the most, they'll get some travel grant for internal travel to come to your institute. You get major chunk of the money. So do apply for BARC grants. This is again a snapshot of DBT's rapid grant for young investigator. And as you can see, they give it in many areas. It could be not only in medical, agricultural. Many of pharma people, including me, are working in veterinary. So money is also provided for those areas. It could be nutraceuticals, right? So agriculture is there. If you're working on, say, making some control release pesticides which are very safe, that also goes here. Any of these things. In fact, sky is also not the limit, I tell you. If you want to work, nothing should come in your way. And you need to write, and with slowly, you have to write, get it checked from people in whom you can confide, send it. Sometimes you'll get reviewers comment which help you to further refine your proposal. Sometimes you do not get. So you need to take help of experts and see where are you going wrong. It's not that everyone has 100%, rather no one has 100% success, let me tell you. So our success rate also is 66.66%. So, but of course it is on the higher side, let me tell you. So DST has women-centric funding, about 30 lakhs given if you are working in basic or applied sciences or even societal programs. 25 lakhs given to those who have finished this degree and are applying for such programs. If you're doctoral, you can get more, of course. This also can be taken as people who have done masters, got married, specifically women, had their kids, and then now they want to join back. So such grants help them join back because they have their own money to work on. So which can take care of fellowship as well as other consumables. So research doesn't come in way, and they can do PhD. Of course, it's open for general masters also. DBT, on the similar line as DST, also has certain programs for women, and also UGC, which you already seen some postdoctoral programs I had mentioned, including Kothari program. Again, remember life science code. You'll see that you have to apply under a specific scientific discipline. It shouldn't happen that your area on which you are working, is material science, and then you are applying it under something which is not, basically in alignment with that area. Well, most of our proposals, of course, go under life science code. And you can read here, special provision has been made under this scheme to encourage those women scientists who have had break in their careers. And till what? It is not that you are 30 and you've taken a break and 35 want to come back. Up to 50 years to return to mainstream science. Okay? So if you are interested to work, such schemes do exist. There are fellowships for faculty position also, including Inspire Faculty Scheme. This is one faculty scheme which each one can take advantage of. Very, very coveted. Of course, again, Inspire Fellows will have definitely upper hand, but that doesn't come in your way to apply for Inspire Faculty Scheme. In fact, institute like us thrives on such Inspire Fellows. So the student whom I was talking about came on Ramlinga Swami. Later he shifted to Inspire. Because the provision of Inspire are still better. It gives you status just like permanent staff member. So all the other advantages with respect to research, with respect to whatever medical expenses, or for that matter, even the salary, everything is equivalent to permanent member. These two grants I have briefly touched, more or less they remain the same. I hope I have a chart. Yeah. For Inspire Faculty Scheme, Indian citizens and people of Indian origin can apply. So that means it is applicable to NRIs. So they can be from any recognized university in the world. It's not that If you've applied for, submitted your thesis, you cannot apply. You can apply even if you have submitted thesis and are waiting for degree. Of course, there's upper limit 32 years. Now, how the application goes, there are different routes. It's direct route, institutional route, nomination route. Direct meaning you as a candidate will be applying. Nomination can be done by VCs, directors of institutes, HODs, presidents and fellows of some societies. And then certain institutes, which are government institutes, obviously, central government, IITs, ISCs, CSR, there's a different pool. So one pool comes from here because they are coming out from obviously very good institutes. So they are directly pooled. These two, self nomination and nominated ones, are pooled. And then there are interviews which are held. The full committee who sits for their interviews. And one thing earlier, for Inspire Fellows, they used to give faculty, when I say, they used to give you to work in your state. Now, people feel that we should encourage, rather discourage inbreeding or encourage outbreeding, meaning someone from Maharashtra should go to Kerala. Someone from Kerala should go to another state, Uttarakhand, and probably work. So that way, the culture also they'll know of different places. And whatever positives are there, that also will reach everywhere. So it shouldn't happen, all Maharashtra, for example, all ICTians stay back at ICT. In what way other institutes would learn what goes on in ICT and vice versa. So these are re-entry grants from other country to come to India. I have already talked about Ramlinga Swami. Same way there's Ramanujan Fellowship, and then you have Margadarshi Fellowship. You would not believe that there's a total contingent. Of course, this didn't happen the COVID time, but otherwise, total committee from India travels to US and UK, Europe, trying to educate people as to what is available in India and why they should come back. And there are many people who are really wanting to come back, especially, when they have small kids, they don't want kids to go into that culture. So those of them believe that they should get Indian education. Indian education, primary education, is the best, the best. And now with new educational policy, that's national education policy, things will still improve. So I'm sure reverse brain drain is bound to happen. This is about Ramanujan Fellowship. You can see it is meant for brilliant scientists and engineers from all over the world to take up scientific research positions in India, especially those scientists who want to return to India from abroad. The fellowship are scientist specific and very, very select. So obviously, total funding they are getting through science and technology agencies of Government of India. You have to, generally these tabs should be open on your laptop, DBT and DST. You'll see that daily they are introducing something new. This, let me tell you, presentation is also there on APTI web series. Okay, or you can hear it n number of times. But the newer and newer things, if you want to know, see that these sites are open so that you know what's happening, because each of the fellowship has deadlines. If you have to operate within deadlines, you should know what is a deadline. Faculty has also grants apart from fellowships for travel. There are certain awards, there are certain exchange programs. Of course, you can build infrastructure also. So in Indian grants, you can write to ICMR just like students. Faculty also can write to ICMR. In fact, ICMR, if you have something where proof of concept exists, no, preclinical data is very strong and want to do some clinical work, ICMR is the best grant available there. CSIR grants, you do have DST and DBT R&D projects, but besides that, you have Life Sciences Research Board, LSRB also. And not to forget SERB. SERB is now offering, I mean, n number of grants. Many of you would have seen Nano Mission. Many of the people in India also got that Nano Mission grant, which was huge in crores. There were certain initiatives which were taken for cognitive sciences. So if you're working in, like I'm working on neurodegenerative diseases, there are many initiatives in that direction. So take advantage, see that what are they offering, accordingly write grants. I've already talked about BRNS, AICT, I'm sure all of you are aware. You must be writing R&D grant, MODROP grant, etc. Unfortunately, to people like us, they don't give money now. Maybe because already they have given in our formative years. So if money is pending, now for example, if I ask for 20 lakhs, they'll give me 7 lakhs. So that happens. But newcomers, yes, they do promote. DRDO. This is another grant like BRC, I would like to tell you. Identify someone who is from DRDO organization and write a proposal with them. It is a sure shortcoming. Of course, when you're writing anything for DRDO, you know that finally, at the end of the day, it should be useful to our defense personnel, be it army or be it navy or otherwise. So something. So in this, no, I had discussed and suggested our textile department. They can come up with a band, just like your friendship band, which can be used as mosquito repellents. When our army needs such things. Or can they come up with a wearable tent or some means which they wear as a overcoat, and when they want to sleep, no, it can turn into a tent. And n number of ideas are there. Only thing is you need to look at what has not been worked on, what can benefit our people. Such people hardly have water which they can take with them. They are carrying so much load. So can we have something which can keep their thirst under control, or something which again gets converted into water the time they want it? ICCW, that's Indian Council for Child Welfare, and ICSSR, that's Indian Council of Social Sciences. So if you are looking at certain survey based research projects, you can actually resort to these agencies. And then there is INSA, which is Indian National Science Academy. Again, becoming a INSA fellow is a very prestigious thing. And if you've done a lot in science, now they have started realizing that INSA fellows are more men than women. Each of the women has been told to induct other women. Okay, so that is how it goes. We need to take advantage again of INSA. And for these, general proposals can be sent throughout the year. And as I told you, for specific category calls, you need to have a regular watch on website. Don't forget Ministry of Ayush. If you have anything in naturopathy or Unani, Ayurveda, you have any of these hospitals nearby, talk to them. See whether you can modernize those treatments. Write to Ayush. Again, lot of funding is available with Ministry of Ayush. As I told you, do not restrict yourself to national grant. International grants are available. All you have to do is put the disease area in your Google, and put international grants. Say psoriasis plus international grants. You'll get what are the grants available. Read about them. There'll be a format, online submissions, and I'll tell you that is one very good way of. Again, we had written a grant for psoriasis. We got very good ranking, I'll tell you. Only one comment that we had not identified an industrial partner. But the comments which came from that particular committee actually helped us revise our protocol a lot. They had asked, maybe, I'll tell you, at least 20 odd questions on two para grant. And that gave us enough food for thought to apply the next time when we got it. So you do have for Barth syndrome foundation exists. I told you, no, certain private funds are there who support. So this is a syndrome which, of course, affects CNS. So then you do have UNICEF, UNDP, WHO. This is a training grant. You do have Human Frontier Science Program, which is again a young investigator grant. Grand Exploration Challenge. We have been again Bill and Melinda Gates awardee. And what do they need? Only one para proposal, only one para, nothing more than that. And that has to be as simple as possible. Only what they look at is in what way, by doing work, you would benefit society. So go to BMG site, I'll tell you. Now they do have office in India also. Earlier, when we had written, it had to go to UK, and UK was actually sanctioning. Now India office sanctions certain grants. So I think it should be easier. An NIH grant, as I already told you, National Institute of Health. From time to time, there are grants available on different disease condition. Till few years back, it was HIV. Then the focus shifted to cancer, and now it is infectious diseases again, probably because of COVID. From DST, you do have Indo-French Center for Promotion of Advanced Research. You do have Indo-US Science and Technology Forum. In fact, we were part of this. Under this, you can have even seminars. You can have a coordinator in US and you can be Indian coordinator. I think Dr. Shirsagar should take advantage of this. And then that US coordinator will select the speakers from US, you select the speakers from India. Total funding for travel, everything would come from this particular forum. So all you have to do is organize. Everything else taken care by this forum. So we have taken advantage of this. I know NIPERs have taken advantage of this. But anyone can take advantage if you have very good speakers. Of course, they will look at credentials of speakers too. Typically, what people are doing in this pandemic period is what I've seen. If someone has graduated from your own college, call them, since they are settled internationally, and call it international symposia. 10 speakers, one is international, call it international symposia. That should not be the kind of thing. We are deteriorating our own standards. So international in true sense has to be international. Then you do have UKRE and DST. Again, we were at ICT, 5-member team which formed UK India Education and Research Initiative. So we collaborated with the University of Bradford, where our own, Dr. Anand Paradkar is there. But his dean was instrumental in establishing a deal, wherein our students went to University of Bradford, their students came to ICT to do part of their work. So obviously there is cultural exchange. There were many publications which resulted, and many technologies also which got transferred. So from our end, our own ex-vice chancellor, Professor Yadav was there, Professor Padma Devarajan and myself. And then from their side, Dean as well as Dr. Paradkar. SERB and DST has a number of grants, as I have already told you. I think I've gone back. And then there is JICA. This also one needs to take advantage. So if you have someone in Japan, be it in Tokyo, Kyoto, or anywhere in Japan for that matter, see that you can write Science and Technology Research Partnership for Sustainable Development. This is the only grant which we wrote and we did not get. Why I'm telling you that we did not get? Because here in India, who no one knows through whom satrap should go. That was the worst part. I visited Japanese embassy, talked to people, talked to scientists. We had a very good proposal, but it has to be done in a timely manner because Japanese people are very strict about time. And here I had to actually, finally seek help of Dr. Katoch, who was then chairing ICMR, to tell him that we submitted a proposal, but we do not know where it is stuck and through whom it should be going. I do not know whether they have the answer as yet. But I lost a very good partnership. Of course, we worked without getting satraps, but would have been better if satraps existed. This is a snapshot of Cephipra. Generally, deadlines of this is in September. This is 2014 old slide, but you can check up by putting Cephipra. So, end of all this, now you may be wondering there are many, many grants available. How do I keep a track? Madam will keep on talking for 3 hours also. So, just go to indiabioscience.org. There, typically you'll have a rolling page where whatever current opportunities are existing, they'll be put. For example, this is a snapshot again of indiabioscience.org. It gives complete database of upcoming funding calls, and you can see there are grants which are available. And when you click here, you'll get the PDF. You can be directed to a particular site also. They also give newsletter. So if you want a newsletter, you can subscribe to their newsletter too. There are certain infrastructural grants available which will be beneficial to your institute. And of course, I'm sure you should be aware of DST FIST grant, which is FIST stands for Fund for Improvement of Science and Technology Infrastructure. A huge grant we've got in crores. And you can establish you cannot ask their magnetic stirrers. People make a mistake when they cannot. This grant is for infrastructure, so ask for huge thing. Be it NMR, be it LCMS, ask for such things rather than overhead stirrers and other things. MHRD, this is for unaided minority institutes. And as I told you, RUSA, under this, we have been given grant to establish a pilot plant, GMP pilot plant. Okay, so that directly we can move to clinical trials. You know that if you have to do clinical trials, you have to manufacture whatever dosage form in GMP facilities. Plus, we've been given responsibility of training teachers across India. And for training, they had their own meeting, they identified the gap, they made the syllabus and told us to teach that syllabus, taking help of industry, of course. So earlier, we had written the proposal. Dr. Telwekar from our institute is now in charge. So if any of the institute wants to do it in their own vicinity, they should speak to Professor Telwekar, and it can be done. Like we've done it in Goa, we've done it in Karnataka, we've done it in Maharashtra. So likewise, it rotates. Then there's grant from Wellcome Trust, intermediate fellowships also. This also is for lab establishment. Okay, what I'm talking here is for infrastructure only. Exchange programs, like for students, faculty also can go. So you can have British Council, faculty exchange, Fulbright, UGC, UKRI, TechIP grants, the World Bank grants are available. Again, we were fortunate to get 100 crore twice from World Bank, which has given a facelift to ICT, I would say. So grants are not only available for teaching staff, you can make use of these grants for non-teaching staff also, give them training. So like for example, now our non-teaching staff are well versed speaking in English. We gave them training. They can talk, of course, Marathi, they have to talk. All circulars are in Marathi, but it shouldn't happen that just because they do not know English, they have a setback. So they can now speak fluently English. So this is another snapshot. You can see some Indian faces here of UKRI. And this exchanges between higher and further education institutes, staff exchange across India and UK. So from India, people can go there. They can spend up to 4 weeks in the host institution. They can share, learn, deliver best practices on curriculum and pedagogy, and learn from each other. So under this program, we did one webinar in University of Bradford, where I and myself and Professor Yadav were speakers. And when they came here, again, the Dean and Professor Paradkar were the speakers. And this advantage should be given to all, meaning open to all, free to all. These are awards now. As you know, award is not taxable. So you can get INSA Teacher Award, 50,000 rupees. British Petroleum International Conservation Leadership Program gives you $50,000. For flora, fauna, wildlife conservation, if anyone is in that, $15,000. And DAE also gives award for young scientists, which already I had mentioned briefly earlier, but it's an award now, not a grant, it's an award, 17 lakhs. DBT, 25,000 per month in addition to salary for 5 years. So if you are a young biotechnologist, this award. US India Educational Foundation gives Teaching Excellence and Achievement Award. James McConnell Foundation also gives an award. And all these are international awards. Lady Tata Memorial Trust for women scientists, 25,000 per month in addition to salary for 5 years. Only thing is, like now that I'm getting Dr. Abdul Kalam Fellowship, I will not be able to apply for any other anyway, because you are taking one advantage from one particular fellowship. These are some of the seminars and conference grants which are available. So typically DBT, DST, CSR, all of them give about 10 lakhs. Some agencies have not given the higher amount, but they do give 10 to 15 lakhs, including ICMR, UGC, AICT, BRC. So I'm sure all others you must be aware. Don't forget BRC also has this money. Once you have the basic infrastructure, you can ask for Center of Excellence. So we do have many Center of Excellence within ICT. Like we have DBT, ICT, Biotech Center, which is Center of Excellence. We have written at least 17 Center of Excellence proposals now. Now that we have 3 campuses, ICT has moved to Bhubaneswar as well as to Jalna, Aurangabad, as you know. Assistant professor post has been advertised, just for your information. So Center of Excellence needs space, right? We are short of space at Mumbai campus. So this can establish total facilities. And you know how much grant will be there? It would be nearly about 1 crore, 4 to 10 crores for each of the centers. I mean, only coming days will tell how are we going to perform. So once research is done, Center of Excellences are there, you may need to do translation. And for translation, again, money is required. So it could be the institute spin-off funding. It could be from industrial projects, incubator centers, some of the innovative funds. I'm sure you may be having talks on these, so I'll not spend much time, but just would like to tell you that funding does exist in all the areas. Our students have got funding from Johnson & Johnson again. We've got funding from Able, got funding from DBT. Can see the incubation grants now which are available. And all you have to do is, Call a DBT authority and tell them to give a lecture onto what is available for incubation. They do hand holding at each stage. So if you have an idea, you can write a grant. If you have a prototype ready, you can write a grant. If you have prototype scale up to be taken, you can write for a grant. Now, want to take a clinical trial, you can write a grant. So, and for each level, there are grants available. Some of the grants are standalone, some are up with industry. For example, BIPP is with industry. So, such grants get definitely advantage because you already have identified an industry partner. But of course, the proposal has to be strong. Many times, the proposals, when they come to us for evaluation, I've seen it's a very weak proposal. Though, no, their idea may be really excellent, but they've not put it in the proper format. As a result of it, it doesn't come through. You need to bring out the novelty part. Now, direct bioness, for example, it nurtures entrepreneurs for scaling up. So, if you made monoclonal antibodies, no, those of you who have Animal House should know that you can easily make monoclonal antibodies. Not a very big thing. Keep 5 6 lectures from experts, you'll know what is required to make them. And if you can make monoclonal, you'll have to scale up, right? So there'll be a grant for scale up. Then if you're tagging it to something else and making it a targeted system, you can write it for BISS and then write it for seed money, then go to LEAP. All I'm trying to tell you is that every level grants are available, only you need to explore it and get the maximum benefit. You do have Niti Aayog having Atal Incubation Center scheme. You have Nidhi, that's National Institute for Developing and Harnessing Innovations. BCIL, that's Biotech Consortium coming in. TIDE, Mazumdar Shaw International Postdoctoral Fellowship is also available. Private side, if you look at. And there's Society for Development of Composites, again the private side, with whom you can actually collaborate. IKPs, I'm sure you should be aware of knowledge parks. Excellent. I visited them because one of our technology had got selected, for business idea competition. What provisions they have. Luckily, in Mumbai itself, we have two at IIT Mumbai. We have IITM's incubation cell. We have signed both of them at IIT B. In fact, ICT is now writing. We already have an incubation center, but we are trying to make a consortium of ICT, IIT, TIFR, KM, NIRH. Absolutely best of best in Mumbai region, so that fruitful research can be done. I think with that, I'm coming to the end of the presentation. These are some of the links for consolidated database. I can pass on the publication, this particular presentation, if anyone requires. There were many calls for COVID. Obviously, we wrote many grants and we could get grants also. Now that it is on decline, calls are closing and they are reviewing whatever work has been done. So, yes, all you have to do is focus, identify which area you would like to work, have total information regarding that particular area so that you can find out where there are lacunae. If possible, identify an industrial partner, then write project, get it corrected, and submit. So, my team has been really great. I call them family, VBP family, and they have really helped us excel. And you can see here, Archana Kapshe, which is from MET, IOP, proud member of VBP family. And of course, maybe in other slide could be Aditya also. Anyway, batches come, batches go. but all of them work relentlessly. In fact, we brainstorm with students, give them one problem, we might have four solutions. Then we look at, do SWOT analysis, look at what are the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, threats, and the idea which moves ahead is the one which obviously is the best. And everyone has to unanimously agree to it. Then only it moves ahead, otherwise, no idea goes ahead. So you need to make students, the young minds, the dynamic minds, part of your discussions. They are so versatile. I can't tell you how versatile they are. So do that, and I'm sure all of you would really excel. I think with that, I am through with the presentation, and if there are any questions, I would like to take up.
Yes, ma'am. It's a very marvelous session, and definitely we are very means our all the concepts are quite cleared, and we got lots of new opportunities for thinking for our future. Man, there are a few questions I would like to ask you. Can I?
Sure, please go ahead.
Yeah. Can you please guide about the fellowship option for the postdoctoral research, where fellow can do research independently at the place of job as a research center?
So generally these fellowships, we need to give as institution letter saying that we would be able to take them. So I'm sure what is done at institutes can be done at research centers also. So
Okay.
there are specific forms which need to be filled, and declaration has to be given that you will give whatever facilities are required for that particular postdoctoral fellow for the time duration for which he or she would be there in that research center. I'm sure it can be done.
Okay. Second
So
question is, yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Please,
just
please.
I'll continue. Meaning, so DS Kothari fellowship is one such fellowship which you should look at. Of course, from DBT also postdoctoral fellowship is available, and all what is required is declaration from the head. That's it. Yeah,
Okay.
please.
The next question, is it possible to shift from one fellowship award to another in between PhD, and what are the guidelines for the same?
So, as I mentioned while discussing, Inspire Fellowship, that it's very much possible, right? If someone is getting, say, Industrial Fellowship, 15,000 rupees, and has an opportunity of getting something which is to the tune of 65,000 rupees, why we should come in there? So I
Yes.
think it is institute's decision. So your rules and regulations should have provision so that a smooth transition is, available to such students. So that's only up to the institute. So our institute is very progressive. So
Yeah.
obviously we do not have any issues on that front. So the dean of research and innovation should uh, take care of this. So now that IICs are in place, I'm sure they'll have their own set of rules and regulations. And what are we here for? If you ask me that, we are here only for students, right? And we exist also because of students. So why not give them the best of best which is possible? I hope it's
Yes.
clear.
Yeah, definitely, madam. I appeal all the delegates to contact respected madam if you have any queries. Can I share if they want your contact details, ma'am? Email
Please,
ID?
please do
Yeah,
go ahead.
yeah. So, on the behalf of MET's Institute of Pharmacy, Bhujbal Knowledge City, I would like to thank our eminent speaker, brainstorming speaker, Dr. Vandana Patrawale Madam, for making aware of various types of the grants which are available worldwide. The session is very informative and pathfinder for all of us. Thank you, ma'am, once again. I request respected Patrawale madam to accept the digital token of the appreciation in the form of certificate. EDP team, please.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure talking to all, especially,
Yes.
young crowd. It's really nice. Thank you so much.
Yeah. So by considering these time limitations and with prior permission of respected principal sir and our eminent personality Dr. Vandana Patravale madam, I declare that first session is over. Now the next section is to be start. So I hand over the charge to Dr. Sapna Ahirrao madam.
Thank you very much,
Over.
madam.
Thank
Yes.
you, sir.
It again given us the new directions and
Yes.
a kind of a motivation which we always need, because we certainly get demotivated when we haven't got the grant. But sessions like these again push us to do better and apply with a fresh mind to new agencies.
Absolutely. So my support always would be there. So you can count on.
Yes, yes, ma'am. Thank you very much, madam.
Thank you, ma'am. Now I
Bye-bye.
hand over this session to Dr. Sapna Ahirrao madam. Over to you, ma'am.
Okay. Good morning, all of you. I think the first session, it was excellent information. All the participants got about the different research grants that are Indian grants or the international grants. And I think this is the very good information so that all the researcher can think to submit their research work through these different research grants. Good morning, all of you. Myself, Dr. Sapna Ahirrao, working as Assistant Professor in Department of Pharmaceutics. And today we are here, Dr. Dada Saib Kokre, for the second session that is on research proposal writing. So before starting with the session, I would like to introduce Dr. Kokre sir. Sir is working as professor in Department of Pharmaceutical Sciences, RTM, Nagpur University, Nagpur. Sir has completed his postdoc from USA and PhD and MPharm from Nagpur University. Sir has completed his BPharm from Shivaji University, Kolhapur. Sir has total 20 years of teaching experience and 19 years of research experience. Sir has received various fundings from the different agencies like DST, DBT, AICT. The few of the major grants are here. That is, in the year of 2013, Sir has received the grant of total 75 lakh. In the year of 2019, Sir has received the grant of rupees 60 lakh, and currently he has received the grant of rupees 75 lakh. Sir has published total 85 research papers and more than 150 abstracts in national and international conferences. The Google Scholar citation, it is 2193, H index it is 30. Sir has filed one patent, published 3 patents and granted 1 patent. Sir has played the important role as Senate member, BOS member, and IQAC core committee member. Apart from this, Sir has received various awards and prizes for his excellence in research and academics, like the Best Scientist Award in the year of 2017, APTI Young Pharmacy Teachers Award in the year of 2016, then UGC Raman Postdoctoral Research Fellowship Award in the year of 2014, Gold Medal for Best Research Paper at IPS, then Gold Medal for the Best Poster Presentation at IPS Chennai and IPS Jaipur. Also, the Best Research Paper Award in the poster presentation in the year of 2013 as well as in the year of 2018. With this versatile background, we are fortunate enough to have Dr. Kokre sir here to guide us on how to write the research proposal and the technical writing. So without wasting more time, I would like to request Dr. Kokre sir to start his session. Over to you, sir.
नमस्कार सर.
Yes. See, sir. They are
Okay. How to share this slide?
yes.
I think it's taking time.
Yes. Uploading.
Kokare sir? Sir, I am audible?
Yeah, good morning, everybody. Audible, ma'am?
Yes, sir.
Seems
Hello.
to be some network issue. सर आवाज येतोय तुमचा थोडा ब्रेक थोडा मे बी थोडा नेटवर्कचा इश्यू आहे का?
एक मिनिट सर.
हा
Hello.
हा सर येतोय आवाज.
Now it's okay?
येस सर पण तुमची स्क्रीन अजून विजिबल नाहीये.
Okay, but it's right.
Now it's uploading.
It's processing actually. It's uploading the PPT.
हा बर हा ठीक आहे
Yeah,
सर.
it's
नाव इट इज विजिबल. इट्स विजिबल सर. यू कॅन स्टार्ट.
okay. Okay.
येस सर.
I must first to the organizing of the MITs, that is Pharmacy College, and the one who has been always in my contact, that is the Sapna Ahirao ma'am, the principal Sanjay Sirsagar sir, and yes, of course, this communication has been initiated by the Moreswar Patil sir and the total organizing team. So, morning we have been witness with a very good stalwart from our field, pharma field, that is the Vanna Patravale ma'am, and she has really explored the total world of the grants and the fundings. To them we can really approach, and we are eligible to that one. At least they have been revealed the information that we are at an institute or the permanent faculty are really eligible to really attempt and really make an exercise to apply those funding agencies, and then we may get the research grant, and automatically we can have the n type of opportunities, like we develop the infrastructural facilities, take the research activities, or even for our personal or the benefit of the different trainings in the form of PDF or the some experiences, and for that research grants are being provided. So after having this information, and now at least you know the different funding agencies to whom you can approach. Now I will take you to another side of the world in which I'll be explaining you how to prepare the research proposal so that it is very much eligible for the funding agency. Yeah. So look at the first slide, the quote that has been, from the great scientist Albert Einstein, that If you can't explain it simply, then yes, of course, you have not understood it well enough. What it indicates, whenever we are making any effort, and that effort should be like very simple, means when like we are preparing the proposal, when we are writing the proposal, that proposal should it itself should be self-explanatory, and it should be very simple and very clear so that you can understand it very easily. Otherwise, what happens, we are not thorough in it, and then we make a attempt and we write such that it becomes only the scientific jargon, or there are many such terminologies or concepts are there which are not very clear. If that are not clear to you, it will not be penned down in the same manner and will not be understood by the reviewer. So, in order to begin in this, I want to give you a little overview that how it really happens. It had never been done in a night, or then whenever call is coming and you are in rush to apply for the project proposal and you want to make it ready within 15 days or 1 month. No, it is a process how you have been nurtured and been, I can use the word even parented in that particular aspect so that you can make a very good research proposal. First thing, that you should be remain in surrounding of the scientific area. you know Scientific surrounding really makes a difference in your development, right from your the basic education, right? Suppose you have to talk only with reference to the pharma profession, so from where you are obtaining your B Farm, M Farm, and what is the culture of that laboratory where you doing your very beginning research, that is for the M Farm. What are the different strategies are being adopted in all the total culture, the scientific culture that is there surrounding to you. And at that right age only the training should happen. Drafting, see, this is a process. We have to really learn it, and learning will happen only when we make it for more times. There should be like rehearsals. Many often you should write anything. Yeah, it will develop, and then it is a writing and rewriting process. So you are making a grant proposal, so first you write it and then rewrite it for many times. Then it will take a particular shape, and you will see that okay, after rewriting, or you have been attempted it 10 times or been touched to that particular document, the document right at the first draft and then at the end of 10 draft, it will have a significant difference, and that you will notice that after rewriting many differences have been come, or the total concept have been improved a lot. At the age, like I'm saying, that when you are doing your master and you have been asked to write your thesis, or even not the thesis, your summary or the synopsis in order to submit to the university, you have to take initiative in order to prepare your proposal, because this is a step to learn, and it will really that ideas or this culture will get imbibed in your mind, that okay, the message is being given by the mentor. Yes, it can be a force. At some age it has to be a compulsion. It cannot be an optional one. The thing should not come to you as ready made and then you will directly apply to the to the university or to the your department. So you have to, your approach is very much needed in order to look at that particular work is being asked to you, write your synopsis and the thesis, and then there you will learn many things. And then you will notice that okay, then these things been asked by the mentor to improve the writings part, and then automatically you develop in that fashion. And for that really it requires the patience rather perseverance, because it's not a journey of like limited time span. It's a very long journey. And for that, if that environment is very much encouraging, and if somebody is appreciating you for your small efforts in that direction, then it really builds a very good that concept in your mind, and then you are very much open for that particular activity. So in overview, I explain you that if okay, at this stage now you are a faculty, if it, now you cannot go through this process, but at least to your student, you will make all these points available, this environment available, so that right at the budding time they will really have this type of environment, so that they will develop themselves as a very good researcher in the form. At least they will draft a very good research proposal so that it will be taken very seriously by the funding agency. What is been expected from the research proposal? Yeah, it should be unique. Unique means it is like oneness. There should not be a comparative all others one, or not being very much relevant, or making that one in a crowd. No, it should be like unique one. It should stand differently. Novelty has to be there. And for novelty, novelty can be of any means. You are working in any research area, automatically you will find that there are certain gaps in the that particular research area. You will definitely ask yourself different questions that yes, they have not been answered, at least till now, into the existing literature. It should really attract you, very much attractive. The attractive in the sense, the all writing particulars has to be reflected from that draft. In that sense it should be attractive. And yes, at least you can really add more cosmetic values to it in order to make it far better than only the writing one. Not only the words. You can have the pictures, you can have the graphs, or you can have a very good plate of your any work, so that through which it will give some attractiveness, or it will attract the attention of the reviewer. Most important that it should be understandable. Always what happens, it's a human behavior. In order to explain to someone, we make it more complicated. This is I said it's a very routine process. In order to explain somebody, in order to show our greatness, importance, and our recognition, and the value to your post or everything, things are becomes more complicated rather than simple one. And if same thing happens and that comes through your writing, then nobody will understand it. You have to make it very simple draft, very small story, achievable, and it can really feasible in the existing facility in your laboratory. Very much understandable. And should have in our perspective, I'm saying it should have some means of therapeutic application. Not a very direct therapeutic application, but at least you are providing solution through that project. After spending 3 or 5 years on it, you are giving some input in the form of towards therapeutic application. Not exactly, but you will reach very close to that therapeutic application. And now how to begin? Again, I have not started in a way how to write the proposal, but of course is a like again giving the typical organization in which, like, you will first apply for the consultancies, very small consultancies. And consultancy, for that you can approach to your nearby areas, or even I can say the MIDCs that are adjacent to your place, and go to them, and if they are working in your areas, so that in what way we can really help to you. Can you give us some consultancy from your organization? Say it can be 5,000 or 10,000. Amount doesn't make any difference, but at least you will develop yourself to work on certain projects, and that projects also fetch some grants. So then with that very small amount and very small target, and very limited duration, within 2 to 3 months, you can really give shape up to that idea. You can even do some troubleshooting for the problem that are being faced by the industries, and provide solutions to them. It also works very good. Yes, beginning, you can provide the free services to them in order to develop your repo, and you become identified and recognized in that particular area. Then of course you will go towards the minor projects. And for minor projects, if you are not having the scientific background which has been reflected from your publication or the laboratory, then you can always make a collaboration, and through that collaboration you will be at lower end. You can be you can be a co-investigator, or the you can be a simply assistant to it, or sometimes you provide the services in which it will be only acknowledged and may not be directly funds are being transferred to you, but you will do certain work. That type of collaborations or the co-investigators are also been included into the project proposal. Then go to the low budget major projects like 30 lakh 40 lakhs, and then of course when you are like very much seasoned and been established into your you can really handle the budget. Getting it sanction is one thing, but to have the expenditure of that budget in given the different subjects, that is also very crucial task. Prepare the audit. You can go to the high budget, and then even you can apply to the overseas grants. That is in this is a huge amount, and to handle it, yes, one should really require the competence and the competitiveness. When to begin? See, always we are like this. These are the grants for the teachers, and teacher is busy very much in a teaching part, curriculum part, and again the administrative work is a lot for the different accreditation. We have to be engaged always to prepare, and therefore then announcement comes and they ask, okay, this window is open only for 1 month, and then you have to submit your proposal. When we come to know already 15 days have been gone and only 15 days are remaining to conceptualize, develop, write, rewrite, we are not having time to really make it, and now how the to meet up the deadline of that announcement or the call. For that, this slide is very important. When to begin, irrespective of call or any announcement, it should be like a very regular activity from your end. Yeah, so I'm seeing that there is no openings, no call is there, no announcement has been made by any organization. But then yes, idea is been pop up in my mind. Yes, I have to work on this research concept. Then yes, I'm saying here, they mention the point a year before, at least year before. You should know that this is a particular mechanism, this is particular concept on which I want to write a very good research proposal, and then it will go after 1 or 2 years to the funding agency. So it's you give more time for the idea to get incubate, and then you will find, okay, you are writing, then rewrite it many times. You first prepare one draft and complete it, and then of course you have to revisit it many times. You will find that every time you are visiting to that document, you will find it different, and you will see that, okay, there is a space for the improvement. What I drafted 1 month before, okay, it's not good one, because when I revisited after 2 months or 3 months, I find it like it is very rough, and I can really improve a lot on it. That is what it is like your self-examination. You are making it better and better when you give more time to it and making the writing and rewriting. Once your draft is been complete, then like a very good draft in which all comments and criticisms are being answered before it's submitted to funding agency, so that your document will be like 100% at least from your end, error free, flawless. There is no typographical errors, and conceptualize also a very good idea. Of course then it becomes your final document. Then when you should be qualified person to apply for the funding agency. At least doctorate, yes, it is there that you should be a doctorate, and then only you can apply to different funding agencies. So obtain your qualification, and simultaneously when you are working on your qualification, see that your institute is also been qualified, that institute is been accredited. And there are many accreditations or then recognitions are being required in order to become eligible in order to apply to that funding agency. So have a personal development as well as your college development, and see that your research profile is being maintained. Not only being maintained, it is consistently maintained. You will say that you are having 2 3 publications 3 years back, and now last 2 years you are not having any publication in it. No, consistent publications, yeah, it has to be every year. At least 1 or 2 publications should come from your end, and that is how you can maintain your research profile by means of your H index, G index, I10 index, citation index, because these all scientific profile really makes a good difference in order to give you a grant. It is not only your proposal is very meritorious and therefore you are eligible to get it. No, proposal is highly meritorious, but still equally you are very much qualified. Your institute is also being recognized, and your research profile is at par, so that you will be funded, and then you will get a very good research grant in order to convert your ideas into some formulations or the some mechanisms or some understanding of the therapeutic targets, so that others will work on it and will develop a medication. Basic requirement, as I said, at different level you should be competent, in the sense like when you submit your proposal, it should reflect that the environment is very much conducive. It's a very conducive environment is there for this PI in order to carry out this work in the laboratory. They look at every aspect of your work. It's not only in the proposal, they look at your research profile and also to the institute. So first thing, that you should be a permanent faculty. You should be a permanent faculty, you should be stable. And yes, they always ask that, okay, you are like when you are applying, you are like 5 years in that organization or 10 years before you join that organization. Definitely it is a very important factor. Then your proposal should reflect all existing research facility. You don't have anything and you want to do works on the genomics, on proteomics. No, nobody will believe on you. And for that I am saying that your existing research facility, by means of anything you are having, any small equipment or the facility, you really make a list of it, because they always ask to enlist all those facilities that you have. They directly ask right from the electricity, water supply, everything. That yes, infrastructural facility, basic amenities that are being there, and also the manpower existing in your laboratory, as a whole laboratory setup. And yes, your expertise should reflect from your publication. There are few general comments that I want to give you when you are ready to write a research proposal. First thing, that you give enough time to your writing. See, anyone who is now at the top and they are getting a good research grants, yes, it never happened like in a limited span of time. They have also invested years together in order to prepare the proposals. Many have been rejected. From that they are learning many things. They are getting the comments from the reviewers. Sometimes they work on the comments and make it corrected, but still it get rejected. Yeah, you have to have patience, have repeated applications, and been always have a that type of agenda only, that yes, if call comes I have to apply it, make it very good document. Give more time for your writing. This is what I want to say. If you give more time, your idea will incubate in a right direction, and then you can really find it very good, that over a time your proposal becomes a very good one. Then it is always been it is a says that you will prepare a proposal and you say, okay, now it's a perfect, and you will read it once and no, it is ready for the submission. Why? Because I have to meet up a call and only 10 days are remaining. You make only a futile exercise. You are wasting your that 10 days also, and that exercise will no way will count for you in order to get a grant. So instead, give more time to your proposal so that it will become a very serious document. And then have a several revisions on it, so that it will be a very perfect and flawless. It has been mentioned that quality of the writing reflects the quality of the research that you want to undertake. Yeah, and okay, first proposal it may not be like that, but then you feel yourself that yes, my document should be very good document. The quality of writing that is coming in it, it should be flow of flow of information that is coming from the summary right to the objectives, the method section, and the outcome, everything. in a flow that are coming, it should really resonate. It should really resonate, and so that it will reflect the quality from your end, and they will understand by the reviewers, and they will believe on you. Few requisites, and yes, dear audience, herewith I want to make one comment. You can really ask question in between also. It is not at the end of my session. I would rather really encourage you in order to ask the questions wherever you feel that this concept you are not understood, or the one on which you are the more elaboration. You can really have your question. Will sort it or will resolve it there itself. Not that till end you will have to wait for it. Then it's a prerequisite. What prerequisites are been said for applying the projects. Selection of funding agency, very appropriate funding agency. You select that funding agency based on the mandate they have been given in order to which proposals they entertain. Proposals writing to ICMR, it requires a different type of proposals to the DBT or to the DST or to the Ayush. Yeah, of course, they have their own mandate that they want to entertain only those type of research proposals which will cover that type of research area. And also read very thoroughly the funding agency's guidelines. They have mentioned that proposals in a order, how it has to be written, the number of words that are being mentioned there. If it is multi-institutional, then there can be a co-investigators. Then when you identify the co-investigators, yes, you have to again give the duties, or then you decide that which part of the co-investigator will be included into it. Substantial work has to be done by co-investigator, then only you will include that investigator. Otherwise, not as a like a the ghost one that is coming and it is for the sake of name it is been included in the proposal. No, that co-investigators expertise should also be reflected from the part for which it has been included into the proposal. And co-investigators, you can always be invited by means of the collaborations. You can have the MOUs with them. You can always write the joint publications, or of course from the industry you can have a co-investigators. And responsibilities are to be established for everyone. That every part that you are like objective one, I am doing objective second will be done by this co-investigator, third will be by that co-investigator. Now come towards the proposal, that research proposal, how we have to prepare it. First, we have to identify the research question. Yes, this is a question that I want to answer. I want to give answer to this question. And for that, these many chemicals, the consumables and all the equipments are being required. And therefore, I may be able to give answer to that particular question which has been fall to me, and I want to answer it through research. Yes, appropriate funding agency, national or international, and then you will have to wait for the call. Sometimes the funding agencies they are open throughout the year. Anytime you can make a proposal and apply to it. But there are funding agencies they are have their openings for a limited time, and within that 2 or 3 months we have to submit the proposal. Else you will have to wait for a year. Then when you decide for your proposal, your research objective should sync with it. That is what I said. That you are working on the herbal preparations and something, then yes, IUC is a very good funding agency. To them you can apply. Your project is being really dedicated on the biotechnological work, and you want to do many microbiology or biochemical aspects into it, then it can of course will go to a DBT, that is the Department of Biotechnology. And then we can always have a because we are the professionals and professional courses faculties, so automatically AICT for any type of proposal, AICT they can always will consider our proposal, because we are of that professional organization, therefore we are eligible to apply to them. But otherwise, for the rest of the funding agency, we have to understand their mandate, and our proposal should be very much synced to that one. Then read and understands all the instructions. And yes, the last point, this is very important, that is collect all the documents that is required for the submitted along with the proposal. So when you prepare the proposal, it is not only the proposal that is being required at the time of submission. Many other documents, sometimes right from the plan of your institute building and the permission that is given from the municipal corporation and blah blah blah. Many such non-scientific things are also being required in the form of documents to be submitted along with your research proposal. So they cannot be make ready. For that you will have to really struggle a lot and then make them prepared. Everything should be prepared. Therefore you understand that if I make up my mind that I have to draft a research proposal, then you directly go and understand all the guidelines and then prepare yourself with all the documents first. Then you will draft the application, and then yes, you can invite the others like your colleagues, co-investigators, to work on it and make the necessary changes so that your proposal become a final one. The structure organization, how you make a structural organization when you are just starting the writing of your proposal. First, literature survey, very thorough literature survey. Otherwise, what will happen? The objective on which you want to work, it has already been published by someone. See, so literature search, literature survey very thoroughly is to be done, because your proposal go only to that the top scientists who are working in the same research area. So it is not that it will be remain blind to them and they will not known about it. If you are writing proposal into like a cardiovascular research area, then it will go to the the top laboratory who are working in the cardiovascular from last 20 or 30 years. So something which is not been known to you, they may understand, and they will outright reject your proposal because it has already been published. Your objectives that you want to really work on it during this research proposal, it has already been worked out. So literature survey is very good. Literature survey is been expected from one's end in order to write the proposal. Then you outline the major headings. I want to say I want to give an essence of this slide, that you make. Okay, you will open up all the files, like summary is there, methodology is there, then references part, or then your biography, everything will be open. And then wherever you find time or you are work on in any one compartment. You are not really find more time, or you suddenly come up anything in your mind. Okay, no, this methodology is very good. Immediately you can open the methodology file, and in material and methods you can write about it. Then because it's not like a very flow right from the title, the information will come in a sequence that in order we have to mention in a research proposal. Therefore, whatever key ideas that you have, Ayush in collaboration with our institutes or colleges. Yeah, hello, Sunita ma'am. Your question is like that whether we as a pharmacy institute or the pharmacy faculty, we may not be solely eligible in order to write it, or we have to write it only in collaboration with Ayurvedic institute. No, even if you are like in the pharmacognosy background or not pharmacognosy, but you are working on the herbal aspects, any herbal principles or the plant materials that are being derived, and you are having a good publications, and it is reflected from your scientific biography that you are like a very eminent and you are working in that herbal research, then need not to be work in collaboration with the Ayurvedic institutes. You sole also eligible in order to apply to the funding agency. Or if you want to make it like very good and fetch the more amount, and you are not that eligible with reference to your research domain, then of course you can always take the help in the form of collaboration, and you can collaborate to the Ayurvedic institutes and can make a very good research proposal and submit to the Ayush. It can happen either or. So also you can submit the proposal, and along with or you want to make a collaboration, and through that you want to make a very joint proposal, yes, that will also be eligible. Then title of the project, yes, it is only for the sake of giving some information to you. It is mentioned that indicative, informative, or the question based. but then very simple, straightforward title which showcase the total content of your proposal, not too big, not too short. Yes, it can really give meaning to the title, because title itself is really as I said that the quality of writing reflects the quality of research that you will be doing or when you will do in your organization. So for that, title should be error free. First thing, it should be error free. No, nothing jargon should be there, scientific jargon. Very in simple language, it will be understood by even a layman. In such a fashion, it should be written. Very clear and straightforward. So then it can be indicative, informative, or the question based. That it doesn't mind that in what type the title is coming. Only thing that it should really showcase what you are going to do, and it should not be something illogical or be not synced to your content of the proposal. Summary part, you have to really give more time and more emphasis on the summary part. It is like 300 words major list. It is means every funding agency asked to prepare a summary of about a 300 words. That it is been mentioned that it's a really shortened version of your proposal. It's a shortened version. What you are given into the 6,000 words as a research proposal, it will really get abstract and been truncated into the shortened version that is only into the 300 words. And this is very tough task in order to showcase everything what is there in the proposal, right from what is mentioned here. Your objectives itself, it can be a 300 words when you mention into the proposal, but then it should accommodate only within the 3 to 4 lines in a summary. What type of study you want to do, only the highlights or the prominent methodology or the applications that you are going to use in the methodological section, it should reflect into that one. What results you are expecting, you have to expect it. It is not anything that you are making it just open end. It cannot be open end. At least you should have some idea in your mind that this is what the hypothesis, and based on that hypothesis these are the expectation or the it will have the outcome. Then even the significance of these results, if anyway this outcome comes, then in what way it will be significant, and that results really makes a difference with to the existing knowledge. And most viewers see why it is important, the summary, because the most viewers they read only summary. See, I am also a reviewer for many funding agency, and as a typical behavior, I am telling you, I'm a pharmacologist, so I really believe more on the mental condition and the behavior of the reviewer, and it really counts when they read your proposal. It can go into the any hands, and if that guy, just imagine, if it read your summary and if it is like very mess and in shabby things it has been written, it doesn't convey any message, and it's a very raw, it's very crude, they will not read your total document. You may have merit in your document, but it has not been reflected from this summary, because first I have to read the summary. Within 10 days I have to work on 15 proposals and give the some recommendations to the AICT or DST. So I have been also engaged with my own work, and from that I have to find the time and work on the other proposals. So definitely I go only to the summary part and read that summary. And if summary been fascinating and it is really excellent one, it excite the reviewers, then only reviewers can develop the interest in order to read your total proposal. Otherwise your total the process that you have been or the invested the time, everything will go in vain if you're not writing a very good summary, because it is the it makes a greatest impact, and therefore it has to be written, yes, right at the beginning also, but then you have to always check it at the end of your total drafting of the proposal, that whether whatever changes that have been done during the course of time in the total proposal are being also changed in the summary. Otherwise summary reflects that there is an elevated plus match for the anxiety, and in methodology section you are written the Vogel conflict test for the anxiety. No, therefore you write it at any time, but then you check it at the end and see that everything that is in the proposal is being it can be revealed through the summary. Origin of the proposal. Now this only the one guideline I can give it to you, but then origin can happen by different means to the different subjects or to the experts. Like Origin, I am saying that from which background it has been evolved, how the question has been evolved, origin of the proposal. There are this is the existing literature, and through that existing literature, if you are very smart, then reading that literature automatically it comes in your mind. The idea gets pop up. Okay, this has been done, but this has not been addressed. This problem has been not addressed. That is the origin of your proposal. So we'll write these things that okay, these are the 3 4 scientific, they have been work on this particular idea, and they have come so far. And yes, this is open end. This is a very good opportunity for you to continue, you extend your ideas and make it complete. This is one. Or within that existing literature, even it appears to be a complete, yeah, you can definitely find certain things which are there for you to work on. So how your ideas is being evolved, being pop up from for the existing knowledge, and based on that, how you are making your objective. And then now from the objectives, you will go to your hypothesis, and automatically the total method section will be designed. The other technical details, now the origin is being written. So, even once you write this summary, or before summaries, at some funding agencies, they ask you to write the origin of your idea. And then they go to the rationale. Then what is your rationale to work on it? It is not this has been originated from that one, but there should be some logical rationale for you to begin on it, in order to work on that particular idea. So there should be a very logical, feasible rationale has to be there. And rationale will take birth only from the knowledge, and for that you will have to read. There is no alternative. In order to prepare a very good proposal, for that you should have a habit of reading the research articles, research magazines, and then you can really have the number of ideas that are coming in your mind. And then yes, with a very good rationale for that, if you provide a very good rationale, and then you will make that, yes, therefore I want to do this, then yes, people will not read what you want to do it, but then yes, this is a rationale, this is a origin, and therefore he want or she want to work on this research idea. And then yes, it of course becomes very concrete, and then it is a very good document to work on it. Then you will have to ask the key questions within that research. Then the existing knowledge, you will have to ask the question yourself. Okay, so far this is been known, then whether it will work in this direction. For that, whether it will take the involvement of this particular fragment, or this, wherever, what is your research area, there should be a key question. And then your key questions will get converted, will get translated in the form of objectives that you want to study in the proposal. Then give a very clear idea regarding the status of that research that you want to conduct in national and at international level. This is what my objective, and for that objective, or into that particular small segment of research area, what are the other laboratories within India, they are working on this, and then in what way they are in a progressive way coming towards this type of objectives. And okay, or may not be directly relevant to it, but then some or less making some relevance, and therefore you will write them that yes, these are many people are working in this idea, but they are not really touched to this aspects of the work or the objective that I want to study, or even the international, because it's a very much mandatory that you will have to mention the research and development in that particular area at the national and international level. Then you will have to write the outcome of the proposed study. This is the outcome. When I want to work on this particular objective, if it really works in a positive direction, then yes, it will be reflected by means of this outcome. And then outcome should be very much significance. At least I'm saying that the scope of application that we are writing, that when I am working, and the scope of this work, if it is been very much limited, then nobody will fund you. But if the scope is very wide, that yes, I want to address the issue of malaria in India, I want to work on diabetes, I want to work in a metabolic disorder, then for that, yes, there will be more funders will be available for that one. Otherwise, if you take very remote, like the orphan diseases, or the very remote possibilities, and in that on that work on that research area, if you want to work, then we know that hardly of population, because it is not a very prevalent disease or disorders. So for that, even funding agency will see that why to fund them, because it will give a solution only for even not a 1% of the population been affected for that particular one. But if this is the 50% population of the India is been affected by this disease condition, and on that, if we want to work on very very at a hot area or the research area, then yes, of course, this guy should be funded. Now come towards the materials and method section, in which what things are to be mentioned. Yes, very first, which is very, very simple, and it appears to be the thing that should not be discussed at this platform, but I'm saying that it should be dropped in future tense only, material and method, in future tense. I have seen many applications in which people are simply copy and pasting the method section, because it is there into the research article, and in research article it should be dropped in past tense. They are directly taking it because it is already work has been done and they want to publish, so it is in past tense. But when you want to make a research proposal, then you have to say that yes, you will work on it. Otherwise people mention that yes, these the Sprague-Dawley rats were used and then subjected to this particular operant conditioning and all. See, then what will be there, your candidature, how your candidature will be taken by the reviewer. It should be in future tense. Make sure that even the material has been copy pasted, but then you will do right edit into it, so that it will appear that you are working on it. It has not been already worked out. So it should be in future tense. Very clear and brief description. I am saying very clear, and it should not be very much verbose and much wordy. Very, very right, with minimum words you have to write the material and method section. And yes, reader should be convinced, very, very validly convinced with your idea that yes, I want to select this particular animal model, or this formulation step, or this particular technique of the formulation. So one should convince with it. Should not be like patchy work, that this flow is coming in this fashion and suddenly something is like a totally odd man out, like things are coming there. No, with a flow, and for everything one should convince to it. Give the steps, don't give the instructions. You are not there to provide the instructions, but make only steps or the flow chart of your the way work will go. And always use the very much gold standard models, very very accepted, peerly reviewed, and been widely work on it. Only such animal models or the such techniques in formulation, or into the extraction, or blah blah blah, or into the synthesis. Only those techniques which in your research area, or into that particular processes, that these are very valid, because it has all the phase, construct, and predictive validity, everything. That method should be very much. And yeah, this is one particular the things that is always discussed in our lab, and mentor used to say that your material and method should be very clear. No, there should not be a question over your material and method. If somebody raises question over the material and method, then your hypothesis, your summary and outcome, that doesn't make any sense. Material method should be error free, and all techniques and the procedure or the paradigms that you are using in the method section, they should be gold standard, which are being widely used by the peoples and been accepted by the scientific community. Only those models or the techniques are to be included into the proposal. Controls, yes, are always been mentioned. Control should be mentioned. We forget to write the control, and we mention only the the treatment part, or the that part that is the experimental part. But then, of course, for everything it has been used the control, and yes, it will be compared with the respective control or the sham control, and then only the outcome will be decided, or then the statistics will be applied. You should rightly identify the consumables that are being required, or the instruments. Identify that. Of course, when I want to work on this research idea, and it requires the 10 instruments, at least I have 8 instruments available in my research facility, and only tools are being lacking. And then yes, that I want to make a wish list. Means I want to ask that equipments to be procured under this project. It's not that you don't have anything and want to ask everything from the funding agency. No, you should rightly make applications such that it will reflect that, okay, I have these many equipments, and only this high end one equipment or the high throughput one technique is not been available, and I want to really procure this or to purchase this equipment or the facility from this project, so that it will the total objectives can be answered or can be worked out within this facility. Timeline, yes, has to be provided. That template should be given there. The timelines of it is been asked with a interval of 6 months or at the 12 months. You can have your references by any referencing style, but sure, even the what I mentioned here, even you are not been not been asked that you should always be Vancouver or the Harvard or Chicago. No way. You may not even use that particular referencing style. Have your own referencing style, but only thing that it should be consistent. Should be consistent all over. Right here, the first reference to the last reference, consistency has to be there. Uniformity has to be maintained. That is only expected, not that you should write only in the standard referencing style. And for that, you can always use the different reference managers, or if you, because hardly there are 40-50 references that you can cite for the project proposal, so you can use these managers, reference managers available online, or you can manually you can do the referencing. This is like very much integral part and has to be reflected in your research proposal. That pilot data, that you are not like only when this proposal will be grant and then you are working on it. No, it should not appear in the mind of reviewer or who is giving funds to you that they are not working in this area, they have not developed any expertise, not even standardized or calibrated or been some pre-formulation work is been done or something. It should not be like totally naive. You should have you should give some pilot data within the proposal, like, yes, I want to work on these 3 proposals, but first proposal partially, at 10%, first proposal 10%, it has been already started and we have calibrated, been work on the pre-formulation, and it is going well in a direction we want to work on. Pilot work, it is I can say it is the heart of your proposal, that develops the beliefs, that develops the competence, competitiveness from the principal investigator. And for that you have to be always work on it, that yes, I want to give this idea in a proposal, at least 2% of the idea I should first work on it and check it that it is really working, and then that data you can always include in your proposal, that yes, things are being partially checked, been researched and working very nicely, so that giving funding to this particular research proposal will go to a logical end, will really go to a logical end, because it has already been started, and it is started and going in a positive way, because I'm getting a success in it. So that can be that should reveal from your research proposal, so this becomes a very mandatory. Nobody asks you to include in it, but I will ask you always find a space for this pilot data to be included in your research proposal. And when you include very smartly, not only in a text. You can prepare a graphical illustrations, like, yes, you already work on it and your molecule give a antidepressant effect, it is a rewarding molecule, and you only control, and it is being compared, and this drug is working this fashion. Yes, people will say, okay, they are working, they're getting results, they're very much inclined in that direction to work on this research idea. So that should be reflect like very very smartly in the form of graphical illustrations. If you can give a histological plate, anything which attracts the third party, that fashion, or you can prepare a very good research table and apply stats to it, give the statistics, so that it is like thoroughly it is being researched, although it is a 2% of the total proposal, but yes, it has been seriously been worked out and been apply all the means and measures that in order to prepare a final one. Therefore statistics and information are being mentioned, and you mention your probability value, that it is p less than not 5 or whatever. And if your proposal is an extension of your already sanctioned proposal, then yes, you have all the advantage to get it sanctioned. Yes, you are really at a very positive side in order to get fund to your sequel of that one. But for that, you will have to mention within the origin only. Now, it has not originated from the scrap. It has originated. Proposal has been originated from my own previous proposal, in which we have understood these many things. But yes, of course, I want to really go further, extend this work, and for that I want a funding, because I want to develop some research expertise in the laboratory, or want to procure some equipment, and for that I want additional funds, and for that, yes, additional objectives are being given. That should really come. You don't make it as an independent proposal so that it will be considered as a new one. No, if it is an extension of your any funded one, then yes, you have got all the merits and possibilities to get it funded. Only thing that it has to be very correctly mentioned in origin, or you know rational of your design, that yes, it is based on our own results been obtained from the previous proposal. Biography. Once you now come towards the now, after the methodology section and everything, then you have to write your biography. For that also 10 pages are given, more than that, or they ask directly you have your complete biography, research biography to be mentioned. So then there you don't refrain yourself, don't restrict yourself. This is a point where you have to highlight, polish your candidature, so that it will reflect, it will appears to be a good one, very serious one, that you are like a very serious candidate for this research grant, and your application is being made. So mention everything which is been very much relevant in order to get you a grant, like educational qualification. Write everything in very detail with your percentile. Even if you have to mention not in a second class, then always mention anything that you have been top anywhere or in by any entrance test. Everything should be reflected very neatly, clearly, and with a chronological order. Then research grants. So far, how many research grants you have been received? You make that, okay, I received only 2000 research grants. Why to mention it? No, mention it, that some industry asks you to only work on some troubles, and then you troubleshoot that ideas and been provided some solutions to them, but they have given only the 10,000 or 20,000 to you. You include it in the research grants. Have your all information, very detailed information about your ongoing or the completed research projects, and also the applied. Okay, although I have not been granted, but I am making very consistent effort in order to apply to the different funding agencies, and then yes, not today, tomorrow, but then at some day they will funds me, because it is my consistent efforts I'm doing in that direction. Yes, my relevant publications, research papers, and see, they are very smart. We therefore I made a statement that you should be a consistent researcher, not that you work only in your PhD, and then last 5 years you have not done anything and now you want to start it. They ask you that your publication only last 5 years publication, last 3 years publication, then you will trap them. You may have the 100 publications, but they are before 5 years, and in last 5 years it's a drought, nothing to mention, nothing, no credentials are been there in last 3 years or 5 years. Then what? You are not eligible. You are like a very good scientist, but then you work sometimes back, but then now you are not very much, you are not with time, you made your progress, and not consistency is being mentioned. So your consistency always reflect from your research publications. Of course, your patent innovations or the all innovative ideas are being developed may not be patented, but if it has been published or even not been published, but then you want to highlight, then yes, of course, you can mention in it. So your research biography is also a one part through which you can really make you sellable. Sellable in the sense you can really make you a prominent features, citing everything which is very much relevant, so that it will portray yourself as a very good researcher. Budget information at the, yes, it can be a second last component of the research proposal, in which you have to write the budget information. We may be very good at scientific writing and given that one, but financially you should be like very clear. You are asking consumables, I want 3 lakhs per year. then you are giving relevant data for that, the relevant list of the molecules. You are saying 3 lakhs you want per year, and there you are mentioning NaOH, HCl, distilled water, and all these things. Then for what you want these 3 lakhs? So the justification for the consumables that you are giving budget to that one, like you want this much budget for your consumables, then it has to be rightly justified with a list of consumables that you are required. Say it can be in INR or it can be in a foreign currency, but then yes, I want these many consumables, and therefore, and you make it always more what is being asked. That you ask 1 lakh per year, then you mention the consumables that if someone really work on it and sum up and then see that how much it is, it should be more than 1 lakh. So yes, take that precaution also. Otherwise, what they will do, they will grant your proposal. Your proposal will be grant, but they will give 20,000 per year. What you will do with that 20,000? So your right justification, and for that justification, a very the right content should be there into the consumables, so that you will be given what has been asked by you. Contingency, this is also the another very much integral. They always give a contingency, but yes, there is a margin for contingency, and automatically if you want a high contingency, because the very day-to-day expenses that are being occurs into the laboratory, that will be fulfilled through the contingencies. So in that you will ask even the if you want more contingency, then mention that okay, there can be legal fees I need to give to the patent in order to file the patent. For that, some legal fees are being required, or you want to publish your research article, and there are many societies have been publish your article only with some payment, means they are the paid journals. Paid journal means not they are the paid journals, means they are not the impact journals. They are impact peer reviewed index journals, but then they are paid because they are the society journals, and they always ask for the registration fee or the submission fee. So for that, there should be a provision within the project, so that you can really get money out of that, and you can go for a very good research. You can approach to that journal, so that you can have a very good research publication. You want to ask fund for the travels, because there can be a travel involves within the India. You want to attend the meetings for the funding agency, or you want to attend the different conferences or the symposia, or your student want to go for some sampling purposes, or to do some outsourcing work. For that, everything should be covered or been there into the projects. For that, travel grants, appreciable travel grant should be mentioned into that one. Overheads are to be mentioned, because that is some funds are being diverted to your organization or to the institute for providing the all necessary infrastructural facilities. In non-recurring, you will have to ask for the equipments, and for the equipments, you give the budgetary code to that one, and always give to the higher side, because today you are submitting the proposal, it will grant next year, and then you will procure equipment next to next year. So then there is a gap of like 1 or 2 years always, and then prices are being gone up. So you are not able to purchase into that price, and only to remain into that particular limit, or to just please the reviewers, you always ask that you want to purchase HPLC, and you are asking only 6 lakhs. You know that you cannot really purchase HPLC in 6 lakhs, but you want to only please that I want only a research grant first. But then it should be really logical, that you are asking for that particular equipment, but then that equipment always go for a budgetary cost. Check that today it costs like 20 lakhs, so after 2 years I want to purchase it, so make it 25 lakh. Manpower, you will have to always ask for the manpower, GRF, SRF, or even the research assistant, and the appropriate fundings are being mentioned to them appropriately, that you will have to ask, and then get a research fellow also, because as a permanent faculty you are got to have many other activities to do. Therefore, in order to do bench work for this research proposal, or to work on your objectives, you have to ask for the manpower. Yeah, of course, we are like very emotional, this is mammals or even the human subject, and therefore we always get trapped being into using some emotional words, some superlatives, or even some the the things which are being very much established, very absolute, but again we want to really recycle them, reuse them, or make it like this will give a very significant outcome. You can mention only significant, not very large, most improved, superior, whatever. There should not be a very loose expressions. No, don't commit or the expressions which are not being really valid, or it is not being really supportive to your the outcome. Loose expressions anyway, there is no space for that. And avoid the use of the scientific jargon, because if I'm working in a neuroscience, in pharmacology, into that area, the very very fine, or it goes to the pinpoint, very small area, and then your proposal may not go to the right person from that only. It can sometimes go to the only pharmacologist, may not be the neuroscientist, to the pharmacologist. And that time, if it appears that some scientific jargons that are being used by the principal investigator, if you don't understand, why to make usage of that one? So make it more simple. Where we have the face value or the first impression is been there and been reflected from your research proposal. In research proposal, I told you that yes, everybody reads the summary part, first summary parts. That should be very much absolutely good. Absolutely good. You can really read it for 10 times and rewrite it for 100 times, I say. But summary, because it is being read it first by the reviewer also, and by all the ones, and the significance of your study, the scope of your the research proposal, and the possible outcomes. These are 4 5 points are to be mentioned only in 150 word, 250 words, or like that. But then they should be very neatly work upon it. They should be like 100% error free. There a single mistake is not really being entertained. You will be simply being rejected, because these are the face values. It's the first impression of your proposal being comes in a mind of reviewer only when it go through these parts of these compartments of the proposal. Therefore, I am saying that it should be like very good, should give a very direct message, crispy, enticing, in a manner that yes, this is really been possible. Now here your end the proposal writing part is end completion of your proposal writing. Then you will have to process through the plagiarism check. Always, yes, you are writing, but you are writing because you can have a self plagiarize. There are chances that you may not take the material from the other sources, but then self plagiarism may also come because you are writing very original, but the methods that you are working from last 20 years and you are like very good at it, so when you start to write it, it will come a self plagiarism in it, because you have written it for 100 times and now you are writing for 101 times, so it will have a some self plagiarism, or even some material has been taken, copy pasted, or whatever. It has to be go through the plagiarism check through any the the softwares or the engines that are being available, through which you have to run it and check that yes, it should be very much unique and 0% plagiarism is there, and then you can submit that proposal. Once you submit, then yes, then it is in a hand of reviewer. Just imagine now how they treat your submitted proposal, how they look at your proposal. And if you have these things in your mind, you will prepare proposal accordingly. So this question should be you have to address right at the drafting only, not that reviewer will pass on some comments and then you will work on it. Why not? I want like it should be like very good proposal, and therefore I am considering that eyesights, and from that eyesight what comments would be coming. If I can really address right now, then yes, proposal of course it will become a very improved and the logical one. See what reviewers think, how high intellectual quality and merit of this study. Is it really merit in the proposal, or it is only been written and very mess one? It should reflect the merit that yes, proposal is been written in this fashion, been address this particular issue, going to address this particular issue. Yes, it is really a meritorious one. And intellectual quality, that which references you are been citing, in what way you are been citing, how you develop your origin and the rationale for your study, that becomes your intellectual quality. What is the novelty that you want to mention in your proposal? Hypothesis is really been valid, or and then hypothesis is being supported by the required evidences. I want to make an hypothesis that anything and which is in a dark, anything that you will say that yes, I want to prepare a insulin preparation, and that should be topical application. Topical application, insulin preparation. Okay, this is my hypothesis. But then are there any literature is available or anything that makes a sense with the structure of insulin so that it will absorb through the skin and will penetrate and will get into the systemic circulation? See, this hypothesis, it will be only when valid when it has been really been referenced with the some supporting evidences are to be there. You cannot make 100% new thing. No, it can be a very good, but then it cannot come from you. It has to be some relevance. It has to be some relevance to be made, and some evidences are to be there. Therefore, okay, no, it has been tried 3 4 times that people have been giving insulin topically and then it absorbs. Okay, then at least something is there been researched out, and therefore that is your rationale, and therefore you want to prepare your hypothesis based on some that background. Then your aim should be very much logical, procedure very appropriately been mentioned, adequate and feasible. It is really very much feasible that to undertake that research idea and been can be carried out. Investigator is well qualified. Yes, I am saying through the eye of reviewers. This is reviewers questionnaire in order to read your proposal. So whether you are qualified, you are really been competent, and the competence has been reflected from your biography. You have very good credentials in order to believe on the principal investigator, so that you have to give the fund. You are experienced, you are very stable, or from last 10 years you have changed the 12 organizations, and it doesn't reflect your stability. Facilities are very much adequate, environment is a conducive, then also it is considered. So see, it is not only your research proposal that you are making in a 10 page that counts everything. No, that is only 20%. Rest 80% is depends on you, your personality, your biography, your research profile, your organization, in which institute you are using, in university, everything counts. Your expertise has to be reflected in C's. These are the different domains through which they read your expertise. Your publication, consistent publication, publication in the same research area. From last 20 years, you are working in neuroscience and your proposal is on cardiovascular research. No, you are not competent to work on this research area, because they understand your competence and the expertise through your publications, the work experience that you have, training you have gone through, the collaborative research. These are your collaborators. This is not only for this proposal they are been reflecting your collaborators, but no, we have 3 4 publications, joint publications in previously also, and now I want to make that the co-author as a collaborator into this research proposal. You have been participated in many workshops, and through that you have developed your expertise, and then you are miss at least you are not new into that research area, but through this you want to prepare yourself so that your biography will reflect that yes, you can also be competent to work into this research area. Then once your proposal is been submitted, then it goes for the review. It is been reviewed, it is been sent to the very appropriate scientists, those are working in that research area, and then they goes to that expertise, and then they invite the research review score. Then out of 10 20 or hundreds, they ask the marking to it. And for marking, therefore you should know where is a face value, how to make it attractive, which areas are to be more concentrated. So will be submitted by the reviewer to the fund. It should accepted, but then yes, it requires a revision. Yes, it should be accepted, or it should be accepted through some suggestions they are being giving. Okay, your 3 objectives are very clear, but then additionally you have to work on the 2 more objectives, and with their suggestion then we have to incorporate and revise accordingly. Or they always look for the translational potential. Nowadays this has becoming like very much customary. This has to be there in your proposal, translational potential. Anyway, at least you may not really go to that level, but then the proposal should be stated into it has been drafted in such a fashion that it will reveal that yes, it has a translational potential. Only like I'm not developing this, but it will really be go to the industry, and at the pilot scale it will be work on, and then it will become a formulation and can be given to that industry. Translational value should reflect from your proposal. Then if it really through that particular barrier, that yes, it has been accepted, but then accepted, but it has been partially accepted because you have received a very good score from the reviewer, and now they are asking you for a presentation. It can be online presentation, offline presentation, or sometimes you have to only submit your PPT, and then in your absence, in absentia also, they will only go through your proposal. It's a recorded one, and then they read only your 10 slides and they make a decision. There can be any possibilities, but then of course there is a sort of interview or the defense you want to make. If you are physically there, then it is a very right chance for you to really defend, because if they come up with some questions, and then if you are present there, then you can really defend it very nicely. And for that, whenever you are going for a defense or for the interview, carry the relevant literature that you have mentioned in your research proposal. It should be ready. If somebody asks a question that whether it is really available, see, this is the research paper in which this has been that work is been published, and publication, not that UGC care listed or that one. At least go to the Scopus Index or very index journals, that publication, so that they will also look at in which journal it has been published. You should always alternate plan should be ready. They may ask you directly, okay, this is your hypothesis. If it doesn't work, then what? Then what? You should not take a pause. You should be ready for your B plan. Okay, if it doesn't work in this area, then yes, of course, I can really I can divert this objective and in this way, so that even in this everything it is feasible, and to go on plan B, and also partially work on plan C also, alternate strategy. I know, because there are many expertise who are sitting there. They will not ask you question that what you have been given the objective. They will always say, if it doesn't work, then what? If second objective doesn't work, you are only assuming, you are only hypothesizing. Never ever that 100% it will really work out. Then what? Then we have already funded you. Then how, in what direction you will use the fund? So your plan B should be ready for that. And you have to mention the timeline for the completion, and it should be like very very the easily it should be completed, not a way that you have mentioned something that is to be completed within 5 months, and you mention that no, in 2 months I can finish that one. They are also working in the same research area, so don't make a claim such that they will not believe on your claim. No dramatic thinking is been there. If you have to work on the extraction, then yes, you give like, okay, 3 months I will be working on extraction, right from the procuring, then drying and everything, and then you will have the extract, that sort of, then fractionation. And if you mention no, in 2 days I will be work on extraction, and in next week only I can go for the pharmacological screening. No, timeline, very practical timeline has to be mentioned. The total outlay, how much outlay is the total amount that you have been asked, and then list of instruments that are being required to be purchased in this project. See, this is I think the last slide, or 2 more slides. Comparison of the acceptance. Comparison for what? When you are writing a research article and your grant proposal. What is the difference in these two? Research article work has already been done. So you have everything ready in order to draft. And in your grant proposal, nothing is there in existence. Still, you want to make a proposal. So see, more energy, more efforts are being required in order to write a grant proposal than the research article. So always give more time or even more energy in order to prepare the research grant proposal, because it will give you a grant, and through which you can do a good research, and it can go for a very good research journal. This is what since I have been in this field from last 20 years, so this has been expected from the policymakers or from the funding agency or from the institutional head in order to promote the research in India. It is for the Indian perspective. few points out from my side, or few are being taken from one research article in the EduTech published in the 2010. That increased overhead. And yes, it has been directly compared to the foreign organizations or the funding agencies or their research. They always give the more funds for the overheads, because through here overheads many things can be managed. When you really work on your research proposal, you always find a short of money, and then overhead should be more, so that it gives the more incentivized to the institute. Like if a institute is getting a 10 lakh research grant to the principal investigator, the institute from which he belongs, if it gets like 5 lakhs, then they will also be motivated in order to ask their candidate to apply for the funding agency. Encourage the very thorough presentation from the Vandana ma'ams, in which she has explained only the research grants, the funding agencies, and the opportunities are being fully open for everyone. So in that, of course, they have covered even the research investigators, young research investigators. But again, there should be a more slots to be available. More funding is to be given to the young investigators, so that they will not be discouraged. Rather, they should be faculty, and at that level only, if they have been funded, then at least they will develop that habit to apply and get a grant, and to go to a very high standard research, and therefore it can be published in a very good journal. There should not be a bias towards the private institute. It has always been considered that government organization gets a more fund and not the private one. Yes, of course, it was there. I am saying it was there, but nowadays, yes, it is open to everyone. Even you can see the private organizations, all private institutes, they are equally getting the grants. It is not only to the government. Rather, we have to struggle a lot, because the rest part is being managed by the government. Therefore, they don't want to be funded to even government organization. That is also there. It is not only advantageous. Some demerits are also there to the faculty members. They are belong from the government organization. But then yes, now that point is not that much valid. But still, if organizations, they are not being accredited, then yes, of course, bias is there. They will not be funded. Incentivized to the PI. Principal investigators should also be incentivized, not monetary, not always in a monetary way, but then give funds to the principal investigators to, funds for to buy some small equipments, or then have some infrastructural development, or to make a facelift of the laboratory conditions. For that, even only to PI, some incentives are to be promoted. And of course, there are promotions being given to the principal investigators based on the research grant, not only on the publication, but based on the grants and the consultancy. More subheads are to be given by the funding agency, where so that it will protect the cost for the publication and for the patents. Now, these two costs I have never seen been protected by or been covered by any funding agency. And it is really, of course, more cost is being invested for the patents and the publication, and want some relaxation from the coursework in order to really dedicate more time to write a research article and give attention for the research and the students they are working in a research area. Or then there should be a time in order to write a very good research proposal for the grant. Yes, they require a more time. Therefore, they should be given little relaxation from the regular course or the curriculum activities. Thank you everybody for your patience listening, and I hope that you really understand the message that I want to give you. And therefore, this quote is been mentioned here. Writing is a really exploration. It's exploration. It is not something in a limited time point you can. It's an exploration. You really have to explore and explore, and then as you can go ahead, and then you will learn. You will only learn as you go and go. So it is a learning part only. Thank you, everybody. And yes, I want to really ask the delegates and even the organizers that your any query and questions regarding any part that you are not understood, or the things that are being really very much relevant for the funding agencies. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, sir, for your valuable guidance. I think every researcher is having the different questions in the mind before writing a research proposal. But I think from today's session, all the researcher got very important tips on how to write the research proposal, where to start, or what are the minute things to be considered while writing the proposal. Sir, there is one question in the chat box by Amruta Patil. She has been registered for PhD 2 years back, and she is having a question that which research agency is suitable to uh, apply for the research proposal.
Apply for the research means I'm not getting. Means she has registered for
Which
PhD.
I think yes, this is the question, sir.
But
After
is here. Yeah. Not it has not clear to me. What she want to say? She
I
has
think
been
she is
registered as a PhD.
yes, sir. She is a PhD candidate, and she is interested, I think, for the research proposal writing. So,
Okay, okay.
which
Means this is the yeah, this is the funding. Means it is not like a research proposal, but it's a individual funding. Means funding
yes,
she want to yeah, she want to get fund in the form of only salary to her, and it will be only contingency. Means only two components are being protected. She cannot buy a equipment, she cannot have a
yeah,
manpower, there is nothing for a consumables and means it is only that she's not getting a salary, or she's a student. I can understand she's a student and she has registered for PhD, and
yes,
then
sir.
she want the scholarship. It is called the scholarship even, or the stipend, scholarship or the fellowship or the stipend. It is not a research grant. It is not a research grant. So for that, she need not to worry about anything what I have explained. No, she has to only submit her PhD research proposal to the funding agency like any ICMR, CSIR or the DST, DBT, and they will directly fund her for the salaries and some contingency amount. This is the individual and only for a fellowship or the stipend purpose. It is not a research grant. So she is eligible for fellowship, and yes, there are many fellowship organizations for which she can directly, with her, with the consent of her mentor and the institute, she can directly submit her proposal in only the appropriate format they have given. She cannot really deviate from that research proposal. As such, that proposal should be there only into that format and have to submit to the funding agency, and it is an individual fund in the form of scholarship. So yes, it is different altogether from the content that I have explained. But yes, she can apply, and for that she has to only submit her research proposal.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. I think due to the time limit, shall I reflect your email ID if there are any questions further by the participant?
Yeah, definitely.
Yes, sir. Thanks a lot, sir. I think most of the questions of the researcher, these are clear from your wonderful session. Thanks a lot. On behalf of Bates Institute of Pharmacy, I heartily am thankful to Dr. Kokre, sir, for the valuable guidance and for valuable time.
Kokre sir, again, I express my sincere thanks to you for your
Okay.
success.
Hello, Sanjay.
Rather, I can say it's a success mantra. What you have given today is many of were not aware about how they can get it. Many of us are trying to get the grant, but there are something which is lacking in their proposal. And with
Yeah,
your
actually,
presentation
sir,
and
that
your
is what I
simplicity,
said.
हाँ हाँ सर हाँ सर
Explain that it cannot be really developed. There should be a
हाँ
surrounding in such a way that, because we have also been groomed in such a fashion, therefore it has
हाँ
become a habit. So at least,
yes sir
okay, now that part is not in our hand, that in what way we have to be groomed. Now we are
yes
a
sir
permanent faculty. So now we have to really proceed from this time or this position ahead, such that it should be a very regular, exercise in order to write the proposal and submit. It should be a
yes
very regular
yes sir
activity. It will
rightly said.
take a click at a day.
It required some time. It required some time. Good. सर आम्ही तुम्हाला
Yeah, it
त्रास देत
requires
राहू
times. And
हाँ
people are to apply for the And that is, I don't many proposal. No, I submit for AICT, one to UGC, one to ICMR. Why? You submit only one, but it should be a very good proposal and very nicely been written.
Very true, sir. Very true. Sir, तुम्हाला त्रास देत राहू आम्ही?
बिलकुल सर, ह्या गोष्टीसाठी किती त्रास द्या, काही प्रॉब्लेम नाही.
चालेल. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thanks a lot once
Thank
again.
you. Thank you very much.
The instruction for delegates join for the next session sharp at 2 o'clock. Thank you.